Coming to you from the Troy Lee Design Saloon in Corona, California, it's the Whiskey Throttle Show, bringing you the legends and leaders of our sport with your host, David Pingree. This week's guest is brought to you by Yamaha, the leaders in the power sports industry. Motocross bikes, street bikes, adventure bikes, generators, side-by-sides, quads, boats. Yamaha sets the standard. Yamaha revs your heart. Today's guest is presented by Therabody, the world leader in human performance, wellness, and recovery. The pioneers of percussive therapy, Therabody changed the game with the Theragun device. Their arsenal has grown to include recovery compression systems, powered electric muscle stimulators, adjustable vibrating foam rollers, and a complete line of organic wellness solutions with their Thera One lineup. Whether you are a world-class athlete or you are just looking to improve your overall health, Therabody has the tools to help. Today's show brought to you in part by Method Race Wheels, the strongest, lightest, fastest wheels in off-road. Method dominates the off-road market, and they have the wheels for your truck, sprinter, SUV, Jeep, or van. SKDA Graphics. SKDA has turned the motorcycle graphic design world on its head by bringing a fast, fresh look into the sport. From outside-the-box designs to retro looks to a complete line of Whiskey Throttle show graphics, SKDA is operating on a completely different plane than the rest. With free global shipping on orders of over $100 and unrivaled customer service, right now is the time to freshen up the look of your ride. Troy Lee Designs. Built for the world's fastest racers, Troy Lee Designs blends elite-level protection with a history of industry-leading style and performance. From motocross gear to custom paint to bicycle protection, Troy Lee Designs is waiting for you on the next level.
Thank you for joining us here at the Whiskey Throttle Show. I'm your host, David Pingree, and today we've got an awesome guest. This is like the godfather of American motocross, Mr. Brad Lackey. Thanks so much for being here, man.
All right, Ping. Appreciate it.
I'm just, you and I have been trying to connect. COVID's definitely made it difficult, but you were a guy that we had to have on for sure. America's first and only 500 world champion, first world champion. Just a huge moment for American motocross. And I know that I can speak for all guys of any generation past you. We all kind of stand on the shoulders of those who went before us, and you're at the bottom of that pyramid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the Motocross Nation guys beat me to it a little bit, so that was really good. That was huge.
Yep.
The 81 team. So, and then Danny Laporte came right 2 weeks after my championship, yeah. So we really had a good 82, and Penhall won the World Championship too. So that was 82 was a good year for America.
Hell yeah, it was. That was kind of a turn. We'll talk about that more, but I feel like that was really when things started to shift, which is interesting that it timed out with you over there at that time. But all of American motocross, we started to sort of become the powerhouse right around then.
Yeah. The Motocross of Nations, I don't know, what was 11 in a row or something like
that? Yeah. That's unheard of,
Yeah.
Well, we get started here with our Method Race Wheels front end chatter. Those fans of the show be familiar with this. They're bringing you the lightest, strongest, fastest wheels in off-road. If you're looking for something for your truck, sprinter, Jeep, van, whatever, get over to methodracewheels.com. You get 20% off using the code Whiskey Throttle. We appreciate those guys being part of the show. So just a couple of questions to get started here. You've seen this sport from very rare eyes, where you've seen it literally from the start of motocross in America to current. There's not a lot of guys that can say that they've been involved at your level. When you look through those different generations, which one did you like best? You've seen so much change. It's crazy.
I don't know. That's a hard question because each segment had a really good part to it.
Yeah.
I mean, like when Ricky and James and those guys were racing, and all those new scrubs and all those kind of things coming in, that was very exciting. And of course, in the beginning, old times, if it wasn't for Edison Dye, none of us kids would have even known about motocross and wanted to do it. And that's by him bringing the Europeans over and watching the Europeans the first time. For me, that was the biggest deal.
Yeah.
I mean, they just did stuff you just never saw. You didn't know you could do it on a bike. So, you looked at it and you watched and you went, I can do that. And then, you fell off 100 times trying to do it. But, that first time seeing Joel and all the Europeans, that was kind of what sold me on the ticket,
Was that the guy? Was there someone that sticks in your mind the first time you saw one of those European guys and just blew your mind?
Well, a couple, actually. Joel for sure, because he, they had the kids don't know any of this stuff, but, the starts, you had not even a rubber band or a gate. You had your hand on your helmet, and you had your throttle, and then when the guy threw the flag, he'd reach down, put it in gear, and go. And Joel, he'd ride those CZs, and you can't blow those trannies, so you can just hold them wide open and kick them in gear, so he had a little advantage. And he'd just put it straight up on a rear wheel, shift to all 4 gears till he got to the first turn and set it down and went down the straightaway, and I was just going, man, you can't do that. And then the first time I saw Adolf Weil, too, he would go around every corner without putting his foot down.
Really?
Nobody knew. We're all flat trackers, we got our foot dragging and all that. And he'd go around the corner on that Mako, and he wouldn't even turn the wheel. The bike just leaned kind of, and he didn't take his feet off the pegs. I was like, well, how do you do that? How do you go around a corner without your foot? So just things like that you never saw,
Wow. That's a technique that's actually becoming more popular again now.
Yeah.
Just leaving your foot on and
I
going.
see him do it now, yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, those are just a couple of guys. Of course, Roger, he's great. And there's so many guys, a lot of Europeans. Bengt Dahlberg, he was like the styling guy on a Husky ever.
Yeah.
And Arnie Kring, he was the hard-charging Swede on the Husky, and Hammergun. There's just a bunch of great guys,
Yeah, that's what I say, you've seen every legend either raced with them or watched them race or, have followed it since. It's like, it's just wild what you've seen.
Yeah, when you start in the 60s, then you get all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. The other thing I want to ask you about, I have a bottle of your wine at home. I don't even remember where I got it. It's signed. It's, number 61 of 100 bottles or something, Bad Brad Cab.
Oh, yeah.
What, do you have a winery, or did you just kind of private label some stuff, or what'd you do?
No, actually, Todd Huffman knew a guy in Napa that had a winery.
Okay.
And he hooked us up, and we were doing a show. I forget what they called those shows.
Motocross Files.
Yeah, but not that one. The other one, the offshoot one that you just go ride on street bikes and stuff. And
okay.
I forget what they called it, but so we had a street ride with Arlen Ness and me and some guys, and we went up to the winery, and the guy he ended up making 50 cases or something, I think is what it was, and then he gave us all some. Then he sold it in his shop in Sonoma for a while until it's all gone. But he just found a case like 6 months ago, and hey, I was cleaning out the warehouse and I found a case. You want it? I said sure.
Hell yeah, I do. Yeah, right on. Is it good? I don't want to open it. I don't want to
Yeah, it's just good red. It's nothing special, but it's not bad.
I don't think I can ever bring myself to open it, man. I'm just gonna hang on to it. It's
Yeah, I say that all the time too, but then that's the last one,
Yeah.
You got to drink something.
Well, then you found a new case, so you're all set for a little while.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our Method Race Wheels front end chatter. Get over to WhiskeyThrottleShow.com. Bunch of brand new merch dropping right now. Flannels, Motul wash buckets if you're looking for something for Father's Day. Awesome gift. But lots of new stuff over there. Check them out. Let's get to our guest story here, brought to you by Therabody, Theragun, Power Dot. Whatever you're looking for, they've got tools to keep you from aching and hurting and getting hurt. Check them out, Therabody.com. All right, let's start with where you grew up. You're a NorCal guy.
Yeah, I was born in Berkeley, and I've lived within, half hour there my whole life.
You're still the same, pretty much same area.
Mm-hmm. No, I did live in Santa Ana for 8-9 months when I had a testing contract with Kawasaki. They had to have me within 5 minutes or something, so I had to move down here for a few months.
Longest 6 months of your life, probably.
A little different, yeah.
Yeah, it's a different vibe from up there.
Yeah.
What was it like in that era? So that would have been 60s.
Yeah.
Up in Berkeley. I mean, that's like ground zero for the whole, counterculture movement.
Yeah, it was, hippies everywhere. That's what it was then. And, I think it was pretty much everywhere in California. It wasn't just up there. But we had some really good racetracks, and we had a lot of riding areas, so you could go ride quite a bit. So, you didn't have to load up half the time. We could ride from our house sometimes, at one place where we lived. And anytime a kid can do that, he's going to spend more time on the bike. He's going to get better. He's going to like it more. And that's best training, because when you're 13, 14, 15, you can't drive. You can't throw your bike in the back of a truck and go somewhere. So,
Yeah, everybody we've talked to, whether it's Marty Smith or, Gary Jones, like anybody from that era, 70s, 60s, 70s, you could just ride right out of your house, even if you had to go down a couple streets.
Right.
No one was hassling you.
They don't care back then.
I think that those days are gone. I mean,
yeah.
Now there's just not enough land anymore.
Now it's helicopters and chase you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So what year were you born?
53.
53, okay. So you were, even late 50s. What a cool era. So what was it like growing up there? Just obviously you could go ride, but just even the culture and the vibe of it then.
Well, Northern California has lots of great music, so there's all those bands, You could just go to Fillmore West or Winterland, any weekend you wanted to go see Janis Joplin, Three Dog Night, Hendrix, you could just go.
Did you see any of those?
Yeah, I saw quite a few of them. And, same thing, though. You're a kid, you got to hitchhike, and you got to do all that stuff, because nobody's giving you a ride. And
ass, grass, or gas, right?
Yeah, there you go. So, a lot of music to go listen to, a lot of places to go ride. Nice and green, and usually, a little wet up there compared to down here. So, I mean, it was great growing up there. That's why I'm there. I haven't left. I've been all over the world, and I still think it's probably the best spot.
Mm. What did you do other sports as a kid, or were you bikes from the very beginning?
No, I played baseball, pitched a little bit. We water skied quite a bit. My dad had a boat. Went up to Clear Lake. It's a lake up there. And so we water skied until actually we got the first mini bike or 50 Honda step through.
Okay.
So we were water skiers basically. And then when we got the bike, my dad rode. He had friends, and they'd go ride on the weekends, and then he'd drag us along, and they'd go hill climbing the big hills.
Is that like Carnegie or?
No, it's
closer than that.
It's Richmond Ramblers. They still have a clubhouse there,
okay,
and they have meetings, every Thursday night there. But the land got taken away because it was railroad land, and but they grandfathered in the clubhouse, so they get to keep that there. And so they had a racetrack there, so there were scrambles on the weekends, and it was a lot of hills and a lot of acreages, and so you could go all over and practice going up and down steep hills. And Dick Mann was always out there just riding around, and everybody tried to keep up with him, and that's how you kind of learn from guys like that.
Yeah. Was he the kind of fastest local pro at the time?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. By who else was in that area?
Dorsteins, if you know any of them. Let's see. I mean, as far as motocross guys, there's.
I guess that didn't really even exist, huh? Probably.
Well, my brother and I, and then there were some good guys, but nobody really went on to continue the sport. Even like my brother, he quit after a while. So, but he was a factory Suzuki rider. He had a.
Oh, is that right?
Twin pipe blue bike, just like Preston had, and all those guys. So, he was good, but he just didn't dig it as much as me.
Did you know Rich Thorwaldsen?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was my grandfather's cousin, so he and I are somehow related a little bit.
Yeah.
I did. My grandfather told me this when he was in his 90s. He's sitting there rocking. He goes, I had a cousin that raced dirt bikes. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. He tells me his name. I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah. Rich Thorwaldsen? He goes, yeah, I think he was pretty good.
Yeah. He was like the Desert King before he started riding motocross. He was the old guy of the group, him and DeSoto.
Yeah?
Yeah, they were the oldsters.
That's awesome. So your first bike was the little Honda Step Through.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first race or event? What day was it? Probably the scrambles or a flat track or something?
Actually, it was called a field meet. It was, they had it at the parking lot of the police station. And the Richmond Rambler Motorcycle Club, they put it on and had all the guys there to run it. And you went over little boards and stuff without falling off, and had a little baby road race course. And I don't know, there's probably about 6 or 7 or 10 little deals you had to do.
Okay.
And, there was no dirt. It's in the parking lot. And
Were you timed through it, or?
I don't remember every one of them. All I know is I had a Hodaka Ace 90, and I won. So I got my
first one.
First one. Still got the trophy. First trophy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what guys were you looking up to as a kid? Like, did you when you started riding and doing these races, were you already watching motocross? Like, I guess how would you even watch? Just in Cycle News or whatever? But
yeah, no, it wasn't enough of it to really. There was no television, obviously. So, and Cycle News was coming out, but if you didn't live in SoCal, you didn't get in Cycle News. You had to kind of be a Southern California guy for them to even take pictures of you. So, we had to start coming down here is what happened, and come to the big races, and then then you get some ink, then you get some sponsors,
But the Grand Prix still at that time were the pinnacle.
Oh yeah.
And so that would be in Cycle News, right? Would you see that and be like, man, that's where I want to go?
I don't think my dad had a subscription to it, and I didn't know about it. I don't think, because when you go in the shops now, the magazines, there's stuff there. It wasn't like that. I don't think. Anyway, so there was local guys. Bobby Grassi from Santa Cruz. He was a little bit older than me, and he was hard to beat. He could ride a motocross bike really, really well. And let's see, about the rest of the guys were more or less down south, There was only a handful of us up there.
Yeah. So you came down, started coming down quite a bit as you got...
Yeah, I'd come down for the big money races, like Escape Country and this one and that one. And then, if you win, you get the money, plus you get on Cycle News covers.
Okay. So you, was there a point, it sounds like you were pretty damn good right away. Just kind of, were you competitive when you'd come down south too early on?
Yeah, I think so. I won Hopetown one year in the amateur class on a 350 BSA.
Okay.
And after that was pretty young. I rode Hopetown, I think, twice once on Montesa, and I don't think I won that time. But O'Neill was a big competitor at that time because we rode the same classes and stuff. So I had to race Gumby quite a bit, and he was, he was fun. And it wasn't until later that I, 72, and so, then I could come down and I could pretty much beat everybody on my 250cc. And then I got the Kawasaki ride, and that 500 prototype was just far advanced out of anything that was out there. So,
is that right?
Your grandma could have won on it, so it was a good bike. I mean, it was like a 490, and everybody else had 360s, and it weighed less. And
so what were you? I don't know what the motocross scene looked like across the country at that time, but prior to 71, like anything 1970 or earlier, what were you doing? What events would you go to?
Whatever.
Would you travel like east, or was it kind of all Southern California mostly?
No, first time we went on the Interams were 70.
Okay. And you were pro class by then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 70 was the first time we traveled, me and my racer buddy, and we were old enough. He was a little bit older, and I was old enough to have a driver's license. So we got a van, and we went to the Interams and started out in Wisconsin, Elkhorn.
Okay.
And then the second one went to Honda Hills in Ohio.
Yeah.
And we bought all our entries prior to, going. You sent it in, and you paid $10 an entry, and, so we paid our $100 for 10 races. And when we got to Honda Hills, the guy came out to the gate, he sees our van. I had kind of a fancy van. My dad was an auto body guy, so I had a trick paint job and stained glass windows in the back. And so we're going into the track at night because we just got there, and we're going to camp, and then be there for the race. And the guy comes up and goes, looking at the van, and he looks down at the license plate, and he goes, California guys, huh? I go, yeah. He goes, what do you got in there, a couple of Huskies? I go, no, we have some CZs. Oh, communist motorcycles. Hey, turn that thing around and get it off my property right now. I said, hey, we're entered in the race. Here's my entry form, already paid. Shotgun comes in the window.
No.
I said, get off my property. So that's how we determined not to ride Interams anymore, and we went to the Trans Am, the AMA races, because that weekend, the first AMA motocross was on the same weekend, also in Ohio, because they were trying to compete with Edison Dye stuff.
Okay. So
we went to LaRue, Ohio, and rode against the BSA and Suzuki factory guys instead of the Czechs and Swedes.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy. He wasn't messing around. Shotgun in the window, huh?
Yeah.
Was that, wow, that's...
We won't mention any names.
Yeah, probably the best. So how were you doing in those?
Well,
And did you have CZ support, or were you buying these all yourself?
No, we had parts, and I rode out of a shop in Sacramento. Okay. Carl Crank worked there and worked on my bikes, and so I had a good tuner. And CZ was, they weren't supplying me with a full bike, I don't think, at that time. I had another sponsor in Concord, Leitner Motors. He gave me the bikes. I actually borrowed one of Carl's bikes because I didn't have a 360, so I borrowed his bike for that season too.
Was that any relation to Horst?
No.
Oh, okay. Different Leitner. Okay.
Different one. And so we only had the Elkhorn race, and I don't remember. I didn't do great because it was, you're in there with 10, 12 Europeans, So I was just learning a little bit there. And then we went to the second one, and this is a good story too, I guess. So I'm not old enough to have an AMA license now. So, and we got.
Would you have to be 18, or would you?
I think you had to be 18. Yeah.
Okay.
So we got kicked out with the shotgun guy. So then we go there, and my buddy's older than me. He's 18, so he gets a license, and I'm going, man, what am I going to do? I have a birth certificate, but it says I'm 16 or 17 or whatever it was. And I said, okay. So I went to right by AMA headquarters. There's a big office buildings. I go in there, and guy has a photocopy machine that's the size of your desk here, Yeah. So I try to docu it up, and it doesn't work,
It's all shitty looking.
Yeah, it's all shitty looking. And the lady goes, and she hated us right from the start, long hair hippies from California. Anyway, so she goes, Mr. Stockman, here's your license. You can ride this weekend at the first AMA motocross ever. But Mr. Lackey, I'm sorry, you cannot. I said, why? Because I called Berkeley, California, and busted your ass. But she didn't say it like that. And so therefore, you cannot ride. I said, we have no money. We're going to be stuck in Ohio. I'm going to move into your garage unless you let us ride so we can win some money and leave. And she's going, there's no way you're going to ride our race unless you have an AMA license, which I am not giving you, or an FIM license. And I said, oh, you mean one of these?
No way.
I had one from the other arm, Oh, you should have seen the look on her face. So,
she's like, damn it, why did I say
FIM? Yeah, I know. She was hating it. So anyway, so that worked out, but they wouldn't let us ride the international class because, we were too young and inexperienced, I guess, AMA rules. So we were both.
Not much has changed, huh?
Yeah. So both rode the support class, and we kind of had a plan. My buddy was real fast too. So I go, hey, how about we go across the finish line together, dead even for the win, and they'll have to pay us both first place money. So we do
Were
that.
You guys smoking weed in the van before?
Oh, no, maybe. Anyway, so that didn't work, and they say I won, and so we collect our $300, and he gets second place, and I win the first AMA race in the support class. So
that's great. So, okay, that was 70 or 71?
That was 70.
Okay. So you were doing some, if I have this right, you correct me because I probably don't, but you were riding for CZ, or you got some more support from them, and they ended up bringing you over to Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
What year was that? Was that prior to the 71 season?
Actually, we went in 70 for just a short little trip with Tripes and like 10 guys. They took the best CZ rider out of every state, even Canada.
Oh, okay.
So they had 2 guys from LA, guy from Canada, Tony Wynn from Arkansas, some Texans guys, and it took about 10 or 12 of us over there and just wanted to kind of evaluate us and let the Valak, which was the top rider, kind of watch us and probably tell him, okay, that guy sucks, that guy's okay, So we went and did that little camp in 70, and then later in 70, late 70 Trans Am time, whatever the AMA was calling it then, they had a race at Unadilla. So anyway, I got the whole shot, and I was leading the race for 20 minutes, all the Europeans. I was going to be the first American to beat them, and then I fell down in practice 2 or 3 times, and I stripped my shift shaft a little bit, So now when I'm shifting, it's not grabbing it's sliding up and down. It's not shifting. So I I was so angry because it was done. I had it won, So I went down Gravity Cavity and then ghost rided out of there and wadded it up and just went back to the truck. And then the CZ guys, they're going, "You could have won. What happened?" I go, "Your shit broke. That's what happened." And okay. And then so that guy goes, he's head of New York CZ importer. And he says, "We want you to come to Europe and ride Grand Prix." I said, "What?" "Yeah, want to come to Europe and ride 250 Grand Prix?" I go, "Yeah." Okay. So I call home my dad. I go, "Hey, the CZ guys want me to go to Europe and ride 250 Grand Prix. And what do you think?" He takes a long pause. "Well, you can always finish school. You're not going to get that deal again."
Yeah.
I said, "Smartest move you ever made." So that was what happened. I went over in 71. I rode 6 250 GPs, 1 500 GP. And I had a little wagon and a bike trailer with 2 bikes. I'd take Gaston's bike and my bike to the GPs with one mechanic that was for both of us. So
And you guys camped at the track and stuff, or what were they doing?
Yeah, they had tents.
The scene back then, I just love seeing old pictures from then. It's like just a little lean-to against the van,
yeah.
and you're sleeping in the grass and little barbecue, and
Yeah, there was no no $500,000 motorhomes.
No. So I heard a story about you coming over and they put you to work in a factory while you were there or something. Was that 71 the second time you came back?
Yeah.
Okay, so you go in 70, you get that handful of GPs. How'd you do in those?
In 70 was no GPs. It was just the camp.
Oh, gotcha.
With all those guys.
Okay.
In 71, I did the GPs, 6 250s and 1 500 in Czech. I got 11th in Yugoslavia, and you don't get any points unless you're in the top 10. So I didn't get any first American GP points. There's some other guys that have done that, not me. And but got lapped by Joel twice.
Is that right? So when you went over in those first couple, were you just, watching him and being involved in that, like, holy shit, this guy is, like, I've got a long ways to go? Or, what was your...
No, like the Unadilla thing, it's kind of like, okay, you're too stupid to know you shouldn't be winning.
Yeah, right.
By the time I got over there, I was smart enough to know that this was something different that I got to figure out,
Yeah.
So.
And were the tracks, especially through, at least from when I started watching 80s and 90s, they've always been just much faster. It's just different, the way they prep them and everything's totally different. Was it a shock even back then, kind of the way the tracks were?
Back then, all the tracks were crapped and not prepped.
Yeah,
so
I guess
they were
all
the same.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, just dusty, rocky, shitty, and they didn't do anything. They wouldn't even water it usually, but occasionally.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do those handful of GPs, then what's the plan? Come home and do 72 nationals?
Yeah. I came home and went right to Fremont to some race, some kind of CZ race. I forget what it was. Not a CZ race, but a local big money race. And I won that. And then into 71, Kawasaki started developing that bike, and I was test rider for them to get that 500 dialed in. And I still... By then, CZ, I had a factory deal with them and had bikes and all that. So, but Kawasaki did not have a 250 bike. All they had was a prototype 500 that actually they built the motor in Japan, shipped it over to Brian Farnsworth and all the guys in R&D here in Santa Ana, and they went to C&J, made a frame, and built the whole bike off this one motor that they got from the Japanese guys.
Okay.
So, seeing that they did not have anything but that 500, I said, I ride both classes and, there's money, I got to make it, Yeah, you can still ride the CZs. We don't have a bike, so,
Okay.
And CZ didn't care because I was winning all the 250 races for him, so.
Did CZ have a 500?
Yeah, but they didn't care like that for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay. Different time.
Yeah, different times.
Yeah.
So I had 2 jerseys, Sometimes I just left the Kawasaki one on the CZ.
Is that right?
Nobody cared much back then. They're not paying us like the money they're paying those guys now. We could drink beer and get in trouble and have fun, You can't do that anymore.
Long gone days, man. Well, there's a story that I heard about you staying over there in Czechoslovakia at the CZ factory or something, and you were working on
Yeah.
their at their when did that happen? And tell me that story.
That was the beginning of 71 when I got there for the GPs. They just said, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to get up like all the workers, 5 in the morning. You're going to walk to the factory like they do, and you're going to work all day. And then on the weekends, you get to go race some GPs. I said, okay, that's the way it works. I guess it does. I don't know.
You're 17, right, or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. So I'm going to work with these guys. First of all, they put me in a dormitory with 4 cots in it and 4 old guys. I'm 17 and they're probably 35, but I think they're 90. So I'm going, and they hand you a little towel with a little piece of soap on it and a pillow or a blanket or something, and I'm going.
It's like prison.
It was exactly like prison. So I go in there the first night. I get there and I'm going, oh, this does not look good. I don't think this is going to work out for me. So after the first day of work, I walk to work with the workers. They stop. They have a beer at 6 in the morning and eat a pickle, and then they work all day, and then they go home, and that's kind of the standard procedure. So the second day,
17, beer, pickle in the morning.
Second day, I go to the.
And what are you doing all day in the shop? Like, what do they have you doing?
Oh, I push the bikes out that they get off the production line. I take them out and I put them outside and I start them and lean them up against a wall. And then I go run parts from this part to that part with big carts, all these machinery, It's like
Well, in a way, it was probably cool. Like, you get to see
was.
how the sausage is made. But
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit, you're this kid being thrown in with grown men drinking beers and pickles at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that was a little out there. Anyway, so I check into the hotel downtown, it's right around the corner from the factory, and it's the best hotel, I guess, there. So I stay there for 3 or 4 nights, and then I'm out of money, right? Because they gave me money, here's your allowance or whatever it was. It's like Monopoly stuff. I have no idea what it does.
Yeah.
And so I stayed for a few nights and had a few steak sandwiches and a couple beers with the local kids. And then I'm out of money, right? So I go back to the factory and I say, hey, I need some more of that stuff. What? What'd you do? I said, I had to stay at the hotel and I had to have some food, and that was a month's salary. That's what those guys get for 1 whole month. And I had it for like 5 days and it was gone. So they they go, you can't stay at the hotel. I said, I can't stay at that other place. So there was this one youngest mechanic that was in the race department, and he spoke a little English. The only one that could understand anything. And he said his parents had a summer house out of town, and he would check with them to see if I could stay there. So he goes, talks to them, and they say, sure. So now after work, I jump on my motocross bike, and I ride through town and out to this place, and it's to a creek and little shanty up on a hill. It's got no power, no water, no nothing.
Oh, my
No
gosh.
electricity.
And you'd still prefer that.
Oh, fuck, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, it was way better. And, I could do a little hunting out there. I got a bow.
Showered in the creek?
Yeah, yeah. Washed my car in the creek, showered in the creek, hunted rabbits and some pheasants, and yeah, that was good. I liked it there.
Now-
And I just went back there last year.
To check?
Yeah, to the place, to the cabin. The guy met me there. And
No way.
Yeah, because we went for the 100-year season anniversry on the 19th, 2019.
So where would that be in relation to like Prague or Brno or?
Prague's 100 kilometers from Strakonice is where the factory is.
Okay. Huh. And this all is just crazy to me. I'm a little bit of a history nerd. So, Czechoslovakia at that time, behind the Iron Curtain, full communist country. And you're 17. Your dad's just like, yeah, have fun. I mean, that's, again, different time. I don't think you'd ever send your kid into that right now. That'd be insane. But what were you ever going, holy shit, I am in way over my head over here? Or?
No, I didn't really keep up on any of the politics and all that stuff, so I wasn't really aware of all that as much as, I should have been. But my wife, she knew, so she's gone. She was really nervous.
Oh, you were already married at that point?
No, but I was with her.
Okay.
So we got married in 75, but we were together since 70. So I got 50 years plus already.
Jeez, man, good job. That's awesome.
She did it all. Anyway, so she was a little more concerned than I was. And, man, when you got there and you come to the border check, to get in, and you see these giant, they're humongous, but they're all hydraulic things at an angle. So no matter what kind of truck or Jeep or giant rig. They tried to ram it. It just puts you into a big cement thing, and you can't get through the road, so you can't escape. And right from where the border is, where the road is, then there's barbed wire fences around the entire country. They can't build a wall over here. I mean, this whole entire country, it's got a fence around it. And in the middle of the fence, every 20 yards or so, there's a machine gun turret tower with a guy, and they got sand 20 feet on both sides of that fence so that if anybody even walks near the fence, they can see that, you've been there. And so when I was going in, I was going, God, this place must be the best. They got it all roped off so nobody can get in and ride.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
So did you ever have any scary moments or no? I mean,
just when the locals wanted me to hide them in my car when I was going out, to the races and stick me under the seats. I got to get out, and I'm going, no, man, I'll be shot if I get caught taking you out.
You would have.
Yeah.
Wow. Really? They were begging you?
Begging, yeah.
Yeah, just that's wild to me. And like I said, as a kid, you're probably like oblivious a little bit, right? I mean, you're over there just wanting to ride dirt bikes. That's crazy. Okay, so did that time over there help you? You think that was
yeah, of
I
course.
mean, not necessarily working in the factory, but getting to see those guys and, okay, this is the pinnacle. This is the highest level.
Right. No, I mean, the GPs, you're riding on different track in different country every time. So, the tracks are quite a bit different, and that helped a lot down the road, when I started doing GPs, because you know what to expect now. You go, okay, I'm going to Italy. I need a hard tire. I need this. I need that,
Mm-hmm.
Going to Belgium and Holland. I need sand tires. I need this, that, this, So you it helped a lot in knowing how to set up the bike before you got there, which saved a lot of time and helped,
So, anytime I went and raced in Europe, for me, the hardest thing was just the culture. I was not good at the food. Everybody blowing cigarette smoke in my face. Just all of the things, man. I couldn't deal with it. I was like, get me home.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of guys that can't do it.
So you obviously made peace with it somehow. Was it like something you enjoyed? Like some people do enjoy it.
No, the food was, I mean, if you had a connection to where you could order what you wanted, and that's what you couldn't do. You're looking at the thing going, so then you get some raw hamburger and you go, God, I'm starving. I can't eat that. Anyway, so.
I always like Italy because pasta. Okay, pasta, bring it.
Yeah.
Can't mess that up.
Yeah, so, there were some problems with the food and stuff, but that's when I kind of did it really early. I shipped a motorhome over, and I lived at the tracks on the weekends. I mean, after the weekends, Mondays, and come in Fridays and just go to grocery shopping, and you can pick out what you want, and Lori would cook all the stuff, so I'd have good food, and I'd know what I was eating, and, that helped tremendously.
Sure.
And then you're not looking for a hotel at 10 o'clock at night with two babies or something, and there's nothing, they just shut the door on you.
Well, and those restaurants would close at they're only open for like these little windows of the day.
Yeah, and you can't take a kid anywhere. They act like kids are just like the worst thing ever. What are you doing with that kid out at dark? They've said that to us 100 times.
Really?
Yeah. Like, what's wrong with you? It's dark. Why is there a child outside? Because we're traveling. We're trying to get some food here.
Jeez. Okay, so 71, you raced the Nationals here and finished second to Mark Blackwell. And I feel like, at least in results, when you're looking through results, that was sort of a turning point for you. Like, you really started to twist the throttle at that point.
Well, that was a big mistake, that 71 Trans Am fiasco, I call it.
Okay.
Because I was riding CZ. Mark was riding Huskies.
And real quick question. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like when I pull up results, they only start at 72 for you.
Yeah.
So these weren't AMA Nationals, right?
No, there was no National. 72 was the first Nationals.
Gotcha.
So this was, they just took the Trans Am results as top American and just said, okay, you can have a number one plate because you're the top American in the series.
Gotcha.
So anyway, CZ, the way it worked was AMA somehow, as usual, switched something up halfway through the season or something.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
That's on brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, instead of counting all 10 races, now we're counting 8 or something, and you can throw away 2 results or some deal, And it wasn't widely publicized. It's not like they come around to the team managers and give them a big sheet and say exactly what it is. It's just some rule that got passed somehow. Anyway, so the last race was at Saddleback, and I'm riding around in whatever place I was at, and CZ guys, number one, you got it. I had the most points. But then after they threw out the two things, Mark won by 1 point.
Oh.
And I could have passed a bunch of guys if I knew that, but I didn't. So, you got to give it to Mark. He did a great job, but we kind of got screwed on the point system that CZ guys didn't know about and I didn't know about. So, and it was just a series of, but it would have been nice to have that championship too, if they call it a championship. I guess they do.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you feel like, or you had already do you feel like that year you made a big leap with GPs and then that, or was it sort of a steady progression for you?
I think it was just steady. There wasn't the Kawasaki really boosted my confidence because it was so easy to ride and so fast. So after the 72 season, I was kind of more ready for Europe then because I won all the races I rode over here, all the nationals.
Yeah.
If I entered it, I won it. And so when I was going back, my contract with Kawasaki was, if I win the national title for you and get Kawasaki the first Japanese #1 plate in America, I can go to Europe if I want and ride GPs, or I can stay here and ride the nationals again. And that's the contract they signed. So after that, I came in and I said, okay, pack up the bags, boys. And they go, what? I go, get the crates out. We're going to load up some bikes. We're going to Europe. We're going to Belgium. What are you talking about? I go, just like my contract says. I got you the #1 plate. I can pick if I'm going to do GPs or not. They were not too happy, but, they signed it, so they had to live with it. And then I went for my 73 season over there, but they didn't care about that, and they had no support, and I had one beat-up bike, and Steve Johnson was my mechanic, and we struggled for parts because, there was nothing for that factory bike hardly. And so, I finished 13th that year, got some top 10s.
So go back to 72 here because you dominated that year. And was the 500 class, it was still the pinnacle at that time, right? And
Yeah, the 500 was, over here at that time, not really. It wasn't like Europe with Roger and the 500 class over there. You had a lot of fast 250 guys over here.
So evenly split, probably?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, you kicked ass. According to the results here, you did some 250 stuff as well that year, but those results weren't as good.
Well, the Kawasaki, that's because at some point they took an enduro Kawasaki, some little F11 or something, and they tried to make it a motocross bike.
Oh, and they were having you ride that?
Yeah, so that's like what I rode in the Coliseum and a few races in the summer series. Because by then they said, okay, no more of this CZ stuff, and so we have a 250, but it was just, not anything that you could win on.
Yeah, so you literally won every single race that year in the 500 class, except for the final round at Saddleback, where you got a second.
Yeah, because, the championship was all sewed up, so I don't know. I think Tripes won. Was
there decent money for championships back then?
Yeah, I had my Kawasaki contract was pretty good to start with, and then, you get bonuses. I mean, for example, I don't know, I can't remember what my bonus was for the #1 plate there, but in 82, $100,000 to win the championship, the world championship. So, now it's what, $1 million or something? I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So, 40 years ago it was $100,000 plus you got motos money and stuff like that, so.
Yeah. Similar, for the time.
Yeah.
Did you like the 500 better always?
Oh, yeah. I was always a 500 guy. Even from, like I said, that time I went to Hopetown on a 350 BSA, I was always riding bigger bikes. So I liked the power, that I could control the bike better with power than, something with less power. It's easier to fall off.
Yeah.
You grab a handful, nothing happens.
There's definitely, folks that like Kurt Nichol comes to mind. He always just preferred the bigger bike.
Yeah.
Was always faster on it.
But he's giant too. When you're a big guy, you got to have a big bike.
True. Thorpe and they're all big dudes, huh?
Yeah. I mean, Malherbe and Noyce, all of them were over 6 foot. Carl Quist, all those guys were huge. I was the midget,
Is that right?
I mean, not Ricky Carmichael's size, but.
Well, he's ridiculously short. I mean, come on. Just kidding. We're the same height. So that first year that you did over there, when you went over, they didn't have any support for you. You kind of knew that right away, like, okay, this is going to be.
I was already looking for Husky.
And what were you set up with your motorhome at that point?
No, we didn't have one. We just had a van of some sort out of Holland or something, and me and Steve and I would stay in hotels.
Lori didn't come with you on that one?
No, she came over at one point just for a race or two, I think, but she wasn't there that whole season.
And that's another thing that's, when you went over there back then, you're just gone, right? Like, there's no cell phones, you're not FaceTiming, there's no, probably not even a phone call very often, huh?
No, it costs $100 to call home.
Yeah.
For 3 minutes. Yeah, on
so
a landline.
Writing letters once in a while, and
see
you in the summer or whatever, right? Jeez. I mean, that's just,
I
think people don't realize the.
Yeah. I mean, Lori worked for Cycle News for 3 or 4 years or something. And, she'd take some pictures and write a story of the GP. That's the only way we got any ink, because I had to have my wife as the journalist, And then she'd send that.
Well played. That was good.
She'd send it home on a boat, It took a month to get it here to put it in the Cycle News.
That's crazy. All right. So that series, like you said, you ended up 13th, but you had to have learned a ton.
Yeah, I did.
What were some of the takeaways from that first full season there?
You got to have a team that wants to go win. It's number one, I learned. And two, you got to have a committed mechanic that is going to believe you when you tell them what the problems are and how you think it should be fixed, and strategize from race to race and have your bike. You got to test constantly. You just have to go out and test all week long wherever you can, on a track that's kind of what's coming up, And once you get the things dialed in, then you got a shot, of doing okay. That's all you're going to get.
Was your mechanic that year good for you or not so
No,
much?
Steve was good, but he had nothing to work with, And
right.
so
no, you got nothing to test. It's like,
yeah.
Shoot.
So that was the most important thing I learned. So then from that time on, from 74, after that season, I would leave January 1st and go to Europe, go to Belgium, start testing and training and racing international races. So I'd be there from January 1st till the last GP and then come home. So
which was what?
Middle August.
It's a long time.
Yeah, for 10 years.
And where were you based out of the whole? Did you always go to Belgium?
No, we switched a little bit. When I rode Honda, we were out of Frankfurt. And when I was riding Suzuki, we were kind of a little bit out of Paris, but most of the time Belgium.
Okay. Yeah, it just seems to be
a
softer. You can ride in the rain.
A lot of tracks, yeah.
Even back then?
Yeah.
Same.
I mean, now they're all gone, but they had tons of them. Now they're down to just 20% or something. I just read the other day.
Yeah, it's a bummer. The ones they're wanting to close. Now, I didn't know this about you. I kind of, as I was prepping for this, learned this. You were on the very first U.S. Motocross to Nations team that got sent. Pomeroy, Weinert, and Jones with you?
Yeah, I don't think we were the first one. I think Brian Kinney and another guy or two went to one. I mean, they were just racing in Europe on their own, so AMA didn't send anybody or anything. So I think there was a American entry in before the 72 year that Pomeroy and me and Jones did it.
You guys were the first official AMA team, though.
Yeah. And so we got 7th, I think.
What do you remember from that? And I'm curious, like, how, as Americans, you were treated throughout the season, and then when you went as a team. Well, because when we were winning everything, we were sort of revered, and even still, there's a big crowd around the American pits.
Yeah.
What was it like then? Were you guys, did they dislike you? Was it just sort of, whatever?
Yeah, they knew we were no threat really at that point, so they didn't dislike us for any reason.
Okay.
And, it was, some people, the older guys and guys and women, still remember the war, and they remember the Americans saving everybody and coming over and coming through their little villages and freeing them. And so there's some people that really like Americans.
Okay. Interesting. I imagine that's true. And so at that race, kind of the same thing. You guys were treated, no ill will.
No problem. It was sandy Holland track, and we did pretty good, for what we had. Everybody was just borrowing bikes from from the manufacturers over there and stuff. So we didn't go 2 weeks early and train and do all that like they do now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, fly over the race bikes and
Yeah.
Now there's quite a bit of prep that goes on before they even go over.
Right.
To get on their fuel, their exhaust, if it's a different sound requirement, and they'll go over and test in that area. I mean, it's a full effort.
Yeah.
I imagine back then it was like,
yeah, our deal
good luck.
was, I had to talk AMA into doing it. You know, they didn't want to do it.
Well, it's another cool, to me, a very cool thing to be on that first official team.
We got second in 74.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good one.
So tell me about the 73 season. You were you still with Cowie?
Yeah.
And if I remember right, was this the Black Cow year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the same thing. We broke the tank and had no parts, so I had to put a Husky tank on it, and we had no green paint, and we had no stickers that said Kawasaki, so we just kind of had some guy paint that, and then
And it just said Cow, right?
Yeah, because I didn't have a sticker, and you know how the Husky tanks are chrome in there, so you don't have that much room for the name up in the front. So and they got a little angry about that and wanted
But by the time communication went back and forth across the ocean, the series is over.
Yeah. They sent some green paint. Jeff Heiniger, he was in charge.
Yeah. By November, it shows up. Good. And you guys called it the Black Cow. Was that a kind of a common running joke in the pit at the time, or was that just you guys?
No, it was after the fact that it got that name.
Okay.
It just kind of because when you're trying to describe it, you just say that because then you know exactly which one it is.
Right.
Yeah.
How'd that season go for you?
Like I said, I think I got 13th at the end of the year, and nothing spectacular. Like I said, the bike was okay motor for what we had to do, but we didn't have any parts and stuff, so we had a lot of little issues. Back in the older times, you won and lost championships all day long with bikes breaking.
Yes.
Nowadays, that's not the same. So if you don't have anything to work with, or if your bike breaks, you could be the fastest guy and end up 10th.
Was that a big part of your strategy? It was like, okay, how do I keep this thing together? I mean, were you out there thinking, okay, be gentle on this thing?
Not really. I can't ride like that.
That's not your style. Okay.
No, I was already planning on getting a Husky and training with Mikla. That was my plan.
Okay.
So I was already far ahead of the races that were coming up. I was thinking about the following year.
And who were you hanging out with these years? I mean, was there any other Americans at the time?
Well, I talked Palmer into going that year because I thought that we, would be hanging out in Belgium and we can go do international races and stuff and all that. But, then he's riding 250, I'm riding 500, so you never see each other the whole season. So just off weekends, we'd meet at some international races. And so that's a great story, too. Pomeroy's over there in Spain on the Bull Taco. And Roger was kind of my guy because he spoke English and he helped me a lot. I even lived with him for some of that time. And so we're in France after the first GP, and we're at a bar getting something to eat. And Roger, he always calls all the journalists, and he gets all the results. He's real finicky about knowing who does what, where, all the other classes too. He just wants to know it all. And so we're in the bar, and everybody's just making noise, and Roger, what? Puts down the phone. He goes, Pomeroy won. I go, shut up. Don't do that to me. That's so mean. He goes, no, he won. I go, he won the Grand Prix? Yes. I'm going, I couldn't believe it. I'm going, man, that is crazy. First GP ever, first time in Europe, first time, just something you just dream about.
He just laid it down, huh? That was in Spain?
Yeah. And I thought he was joking for the longest time, but then he did. And, Jimmy won that thing cut and dry, but they kind of boned him on the trophy. They gave it to Meisch or something and said he won by some times. But anyway, when they redid it all, Jimmy won, but Meisch wouldn't give the trophy back. And
no way.
So we built him a trophy, the same exact one, because my buddy Bovin, he's from Belgium, and he won the Spanish Grand Prix once. So he had the trophy, the same one. So we took his trophy and went to the trophy guy and had a replica made and gave it to Jimmy up in Chehalis or somewhere at the race. So he was happy.
Wow. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's all kinds of little sneakers
Well,
in there.
I know. So I love those little stories. Did you ever feel, you know, like in these first couple of seasons, obviously there's some learning going on. Did you ever think like, man, what am I doing? I was a champion at home. I could go back home and just be clicking off wins.
Never entered my mind.
You had a focus, and it was that world title.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just figured, you know, that 72 season, like you said, you know, I was real successful. I could beat everybody every weekend. So I go, I'm going to go back and do that. Why do I want to do that? You know,
I've already done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you're sort of acclimating to the culture and the life over there and got it figured out.
Yeah.
Because even going from country to country is a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, back then.
Then, yeah, you had to have
different passports and
carnets for all the bikes and this and that. Yeah, it was a lot of work. You had to have a manager guy that set up your international races and stuff like that when you're not going to a GP, so you could make some money. And I had a good crew of people in Belgium that were my supporters, and they would really help.
Cool. Yeah, it's just a lot more complicated than it was here, you know. So
actually, my Belgium team, they're throwing a party for me for the 40th anniversary of the championship in June.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Over there?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, so we're gonna go to Scotland for a vintage race, and then stop by there for the party.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, because this whole family was behind me. Because, like I said, he was the war guy.
Okay.
He watched the Nazi planes crash in his dad's field and stuff, and he remembers all the Americans coming through, and so he's like gun ho.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they traveled to all the GPs and kind of a little bodyguard and a little bit of help guy, and you know.
You need those guys.
You do.
Like that's probably a huge help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the language, you know, because they can speak 3 or 4 languages, most of them, you know.
Yeah, just travel those little nuances that you don't realize are so hard until you get there and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Hamburger? Come on, how hard could it be?
So you were still coming home all these years and racing some nationals too. 73, third at Daytona, you won Lake Whitney. Not doing all the races, but you came back and did quite a few that fall, summer and fall.
Yeah. The good season was 75. That the GPs were over. I don't know, maybe a week earlier than normal or something, and I had a good guy at the AMA that wanted to kind of help me, and so I said, and they were winding down the 500 class over here.
Okay.
So they only had 5 races, 5 nationals. And I said, schedule those things out way out there so I can come back and ride him. Oh, okay. So he did what he could do, but I missed first 2.
Yeah.
So I had to ride only 3 out of 5. But if I won all 3, I'd be national champ. So I won the first one at Lake Sugar Tree. Yeah, that one. And then second one, I won one moto and I was leading the other one, and I got a flat front tire. And then Pierre rammed me in the corner and broke my shifter off. So then I couldn't shift, and I had a flat tire, so I didn't win that one. And
you couldn't win with a flat tire and a broken shifter? Come on.
I couldn't do it. Anyway, so he kind of pissed me off. So then the last race was New Orleans. You ever see that one?
I don't know that
The
I
One
did.
Chance to Win video?
I don't think I did.
Oh, you got to watch that.
Okay.
You're going to like that.
All right.
Yeah, watch that.
I can find it on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One Chance to Win.
Yeah, and it's a kind of a duel because there's 7 guys that can win the championship going down to the last race in New Orleans. There's like Simix, Weinert, Pierre, maybe still me, and Tony D.
I've read about this before. I've never seen. There's footage though, huh?
Oh, they did it with 16 millimeters. Great stuff.
Wow. Okay.
Todd has it. It's
Okay.
Get it from Todd.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah.
So what happened? I mean, give me I need the notes now.
Okay, so let's see. My bike, my Husky was just a rocket too, that one. Anyway, so I either won the first moto or the second moto. I can't remember how it played out. You got to watch the video and you'll figure it out. But anyway, it blew up in the second race or something. It sucked some sand and blew up. And Pierre was leading, and I could pass him, his factory Honda on my Husky anywhere I wanted to on the
Just
straightaway.
at will, huh?
That thing was so fast. That's why it blew up probably. But anyway, so I was jacking with him because he just knocked me off the week before, you know. So I'm kind of holding him up and he's doing this AMA, you know. And screaming and yelling. Anyway, while I'm slowing him down, Tony D and some other guys catch up to him. Then they go over and jump, and they tangle, and they crash. So D's out now, and Pierre's out. My bike blows up. I'm out. Grassi puts it in the fence by himself, and Jammer, he's just plugging along back there in the 8th or something. And now he's up to 3rd or 4th, and he ends up winning the championship because of all that. Yeah, it's a really good story.
Oh, wow. I love those kind of races. I mean, obviously, that was a bummer for you, but. So when you come back and do the U.S. races, how was that, what were the differences that you saw? Did you like racing here? Was it like, this seems amateur hour compared to what I've been doing? Or?
The tracks were a lot smaller, and not as fun, and
probably not as big a crowds, I would imagine.
Oh no. Over there, GP is serious,
Yeah.
Russia 200,000, it's crazy.
What's that like?
Oh, that's crazy because that was communist time, so you got to have a fence around the whole pits, and then all these fans are just up against this wire fence, and man, they want anything you can give them, because they have nothing. They've never seen a sticker, You'd pull into the hotel with the van all covered with stickers, come out 5 minutes later, every sticker's gone, not a drop of glue anywhere.
You're kidding me.
I mean, a full-blown, stickers everywhere on it.
Peel
I don't
off.
know how they get them off so fast and gone, and you can't even tell it was there. Yeah, so, then they got something from the West,
Wow.
So they were fighting over John Banks threw a Castro empty oil can over the fence, and they were scrapping and fighting over that thing to get a little oil can, a little Castro can.
Communism's great, sounds like. Wow.
Yeah, that was back then, though.
So just probably would come over here, and these would seem like local races almost, huh?
Not when I had to race the big guys and try to beat everybody. It was just like anything else, because Marty and
I suppose,
and all those guys, they were fast, and
Huh. But was it nice to be able to come back and be in your home country and race? Did that?
Yeah, no, I like that because it was so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah, just either traveling or talking to people.
Yeah.
Okay, so 70. Let's go to 74 here. Now you signed with Husky, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that season over in the GPs. You only did one round over here, it says.
Yeah, there's only US GP and Canadian GP.
Yeah. So how did that season go?
74. I got some thirds. I was starting to, figure it out. I trained a lot with Heike in the woods in Finland and up at Alta Husqvarna training camp.
Was you were obviously, you said you had already been looking at Husky years earlier. Was Heike kind of like somebody you looked up to or somebody you knew you wanted to kind of partner with?
He was the tough dude.
Was he as gnarly? Like I see pictures of him and I'm scared. Was he that way, in real life?
Yeah. But, I mean, he's nice, but, he's tough.
He'll knock all your teeth out if he wants to. Though.
Yeah, you see him sometimes, you go, I could take an ice pick and just stab him in the face and it'd break the ice pick, wouldn't even hurt him. He's that rough looking, and strong skin,
Yeah.
And, he trained like crazy too,
Did he?
So when I trained with him, we'd just try to kill each other, so that was perfect for me to get dialed in on the bike and get in shape and
what were you guys doing? What would a training week look like for you?
We had inside training with weights and stuff like that and calisthenic types, like if you're ever, there's a Husqvarna training camp, you can probably look that up too on YouTube because a lot of guys went, Mitch Mays went and Pomeroy went and a lot of guys went to it because it was open. Husky let anybody come that wanted to come.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They had a trainer that would.
Yeah, and then we'd get up in the dark in the Swedish freezing. You'd go outside, break your mustache off if you wanted to, and then we'd go to the gym and do that for a couple hours, and then we'd come back, and I don't know which order anymore, but anyway, along with the gym thing, there was we'd take motocross bikes out to the snow with spike tires on them and ride on the motocross track. Then we'd cross-country ski 15 kilometers, and then we'd come back, have lunch, and we'd go back to the gym. So, man,
It was all day.
It was bad. You woke up in the morning, it's pitch black out because you're in way northern Sweden. So
Yeah.
it's freezing and black, and then you get done and it's dark. You haven't seen the sun, but when you're out skiing, and there's no sun really anyway. So that was a lot of work, but it paid off,
Yeah.
Being in shape is the only thing that can win a race for you in the real world, At the end of the day, the guy that slows down in the last laps, he don't win. The guy that the guy that gains 5 seconds in the last 15 minutes. That guy wins every time.
I feel like you figured that out pretty early.
Yeah.
You know, just from what I've heard and seen and read, you were always pretty fit.
Yeah.
Once you got to kind of this point and beyond.
Yeah, no, I trained, overly trained, probably somewhat like some of those guys talk about now. But you know, for Europe, you had to. It's, you know, the conditions. It could be snow, mud, just shit. You know, and the bike, you know, you're doing 245s. You know, so you got to be strong to the end.
Yeah. Were you a good mud rider? Did you get? I mean, NorCal guys get a little more mud than we do here.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It didn't bother me. I mean, I'd prefer not to go through all that, you know, with the eyes and the no goggles and, you know, that stuff. Because back then, you know, we didn't have all that trick shit.
Yeah.
You know, 3 corners, you're down to pulling the goggles off and then blasting your eyes out with full 500 two-strokes, you know.
Yeah. So how did that 74 season go on the Husky?
It went good. Like I said, I got some good results, some podium stuff, and I was learning pretty much. I was getting my training part down. I just had, again, you know, some bike stuff, you know. My riding style was bad for the Husky. My chain could fall off at any given point because of my riding style, you know.
Oh, yeah, you said something about, I don't remember the year, but the swing arm would flex and you derail a chain, and so you built your own.
Yeah. That's what happened, you know. They said, oh, it's your mechanic's not doing it right. And I said, no, I'm pretty sure that's not the problem. He goes, okay, we'll have Heike's mechanic set up your chain in your wheel, and then go out there. I go, okay, where do you want it to fall off at? I go stand by that jump. I go, obviously not the mechanic.
Yeah.
I think it's a swing arm. No, engineer said it can't be a swing arm. And you can't argue with a Swedish engineer. Yeah.
What is it? This blows me away. It's something that still happens today on these factory teams. Is it just pride gets in the way?
Yeah, I think so.
Or, you know, like they just won't go out of their box and think, well, maybe he's right. Maybe let's talk about the swing arm.
Yeah.
It's like, no, can't be that.
Yeah.
No, this rider won with this. This is good. It's like, well, I'm not that guy. Like,
Exactly.
I ride this way.
Yeah. See, even at this time, here's a bike, you all ride it. I mean, they hadn't even been doing any adjustment for a rider type situation like that yet. You know, it was still Heike wins on it, you can win on it. I said, yeah, but I don't ride like Heike, you know. He rides that way, I'll ride this way, you know. Doesn't matter. So anyway, that was one of the big problems. You couldn't get anything specialized for you, you know, and that cost me a lot of races and, you know, breaking wheels at Carlsbad when I come on, buy some Buchanan's. Oh, it's not in the budget. I'm going, really? $20 worth of spokes isn't in the Husky budget? So, yeah, there's a lot of things like that just drive you crazy. And, you know, then you look back on the season, you go, if I didn't break down there, and there, and there, you know, look, the results would have been totally different, you know?
That's got to be frustrating. If they genuinely don't have the budget for something, I guess you don't have the budget. But when they won't listen to an idea, you know, you could look at Eli Tomac this year.
Yeah.
How many years? It's not like he all of a sudden got better this season.
Yeah, no.
The team was able to do what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
They were open to trying it, and good luck trying to beat that guy in the next couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, that's
nothing's changed.
That kind of surprised me because Kawasaki was the easiest to work with at my time. Yeah. Whatever you wanted. Sure. We'll do it.
Yeah, it's a strange, I don't know if it's Japanese culture, but then, you know, you're saying it's happening with Husky and everywhere. So it's just curious to me to me, it's like if my rider, my top guy who's capable of winning wants to try something, hell yes. What is it? Let's try it. As long as it's within reason of budget and.
Right. I mean, that they all back then, especially, you know, like Preston, he developed that anti-dive system, and I ran it at Unadilla on my Honda. It worked great, man. Come into the corners, the giant whoops like that. Everybody else is braking, and you got that much travel. I got 12 inches.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going, man, this is shit. Nah, take it off. You know, we didn't make it, so take it off.
Yeah, we'll get to more of that because I think your Simon's Forks were kind of the same thing at the end.
Exactly.
So that year in 74, you guys were second at the Motocross of Nations. Tell me about that. And who was with you that year?
Pomeroy, Tony D, and Howerton, I think.
You guys, now, I don't know Pomeroy too well, but I know those other guys. You guys had to have been having some fun. Like, there has to be some stories of shit you guys did.
Well, Howerton was a pretty serious guy.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he'd be more of a card, like, out on the road.
And Tony D, he wasn't too wild.
All right.
Bimbo's the wild one. Pomeroy and me are the worst. And Jimmy I think Jimmy had the best overall of the Americans. he got, I forget what exactly our placements, but I think he beat me by a little bit. And the only reason we got second, well, one, because we weren't good enough to win, but we're in Sweden at the Husqvarna training track where Alberg and all those guys grew up, and Alberg was on the Bultaco that day. He didn't put his foot down once, just like Adolf, and he railed that thing and just smoked everybody, you know. So, and then they had 3 or 4 other Swedes, Anderson, and, you know, guys getting thirds and fourths and stuff. So nobody was going to beat them that day.
Yeah. So second was...
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Pretty damn good. Were you guys stoked? I mean, that had to be...
Yeah, we were happy. Second. We got third in the 250 race maybe earlier that year.
Because that's, I mean, 74, that's really early for, you know, like I said, America didn't start really pushing on the world stage until early 80s.
Yeah.
So that's, you know.
That's a few years ahead of the other guys, but.
Huh. And still the vibe was good with Americans and you guys there?
Yeah, we had no problems with that ever.
We talked a little bit about this, but life on the GP circuit back then. What were some of the toughest things to deal with? I mean, like a mud race. I can't even imagine. You know, now we got pressure washers, and there's some asshole, and they're cleaning your helmet for you, and you know, you get the whole deal. You guys were. There's
usually a creek, you know, somewhere close.
That's your pressure washer.
Yeah, everybody'd roll them down into the creek and get a brush and a sponge and try to get the mud off, and that, you know, just to see if anything was broken or if something's coming loose. You know, that's all you could really do. And I mean, yeah, you know, there was. The fun part was if it was a mud race, there's no asphalt, there's no cement, there's no nothing, you know, it's just fields and farmer fields from cows, you know. They round up the cows in the morning, take them off, and there's the track, and then they put them back on. But when it rains like hell, then every vehicle has to be towed out by the farmer tractor because you're stuck in the mud with a motorhome or whatever. You know, you pay the guy; he'll go get more tractors if we had to, but you got to tow all those rigs out of there and get them onto a road, you know, because they're stuck.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, that still happens now at some of the nationals, but back then. Yeah, you're right. You're just driving out onto a field.
Yeah, you just go as far as you could go. You'd pin it and see how far you could get, and that's where you're parked.
Well, this is our pit.
Yeah, did that lots of times.
That's funny. And so how was your relationship with other riders on the series that you're competing with? Did you guys get along? Was it kind of enemies on the track but friends in the pits, or you just kept to yourselves?
No, most of us were all friendly and trained together, some of us, and nobody really had any problems unless you had a one-on-one with one guy. You know, there's always somebody that rides a little wrong or a little dirty, and then once that starts, you know, it's kind of hard to get that gone, you know.
Did you have a guy like that? Who was your guy?
Yeah, I had a guy like that. Mallory.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So
he would always do you dirty?
Yeah, he was, you know, he had different plan of attack than most of us. You know, we all got along except for that. I couldn't stand that because, you know, if I'm in better shape, I know I can get him in the end, but then if he jacks me before I get to the end, you know, then that wrecks my whole plan and all that training down the tubes, you know.
What nationality was he? Was he
Belgium?
Belgium? Okay. Yeah. All right. What was
He's coming to the party.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Do you guys get along now or no?
Yeah.
Bring Heike and tell him to punch him. I want to hear some stories about who are the big characters in that era? Like, you see pictures of DeCoster, and, you know, his hair's like swept over, and he's got these pretty girls hanging out in his pit. Was he Playboy back then? Like, what were these guys like back in those days? Without getting anybody in trouble.
Yeah. Well, Roger had his lorry, and I had my lorry. And the two lorries obviously were California girls, and so they hung out, and they would go, you know, shopping and have fun and do their stuff. And you know, we had the hottest chicks in Europe, both those girls.
And they were both Americans. I didn't know his. Okay.
Yeah, go look that one up.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they're all committed at the races to help us, and, you know, they're the ones cleaning our helmet and doing that.
I didn't know he was married that early.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so he was married to her for quite some time. So, you know, races, you're just business, and you got the family there, and they're just helping, you know, so.
Were there any of the other guys that were a little wild?
Oh, yeah, Noyce, he's your wild boy.
What was he like? I got to get him on this show, man.
Oh, man, he's crazy. He's, he likes to drink a little. And, He likes to chase them around a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he last time I saw him was we went to the Telford motorcycle show in England,
Okay.
Birmingham.
Yeah.
A couple of years, well, probably 5 years ago now or something. Anyway, so I went with a friend, and my friend woke up in the middle of the night and he was hungry, and he's, man, I gotta have something to eat. So he goes downstairs and, hey, is there any food here? Can you give me something? And the guy goes, there's some bread over on the table or something. So anyway, it's 3, 4 in the morning, and he goes down there. Noyce is at the piano with a couple buddies. They're singing and dancing and drinking and doing all this. And then he comes back, and then in the morning, we're going to the motorcycle show because it hasn't happened yet. And he goes, who was down there last night when I went to get some food? I go, who? This is Noyce. He was on the piano. It was 4 in the morning. And so now we're at 8:30, and we're walking to the show, and Noyce goes by, and I go, how you doing? Oh, I'm on water today. That's his line, that's all. Yeah, he'll be good.
He's not short on personality.
No. He'll be very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he'll tell it like it is, too.
Yeah. Well, it's he was a character. Okay, 75. Take us into that year. How did that go?
75, the Husky was getting better. I still had some of
Just
those problems.
reliability issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And, I had the same bike as Heike, and he's winning races, battling out with Roger. And, I was bringing up, some thirds and fourths usually with the other factory guys, and I didn't really beat him until the last GP in 75. I won the last moto of Luxembourg GP.
Okay.
That was my first
win.
First win on the top of the podium in the 500 GP class.
How'd that feel?
I felt good. And that's the bike I brought back and raced at that race I was telling you about, the fast one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that one came from Europe. Just got done winning the GP, and it worked over here for, 2 out of 3 races anyway. But, that was a good bike. I really like. I still have that one.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, you tracked down your championship bike, too, I saw. 20-year hunt for that thing.
Yeah. Finally got it.
Are those the 2 you have, or do you have other ones?
As far as my factory stuff, yeah, that's really the only 2 that are factory bikes that I have.
Is there another one you'd want?
Yeah, I kind of got boned on one, and I'm still trying to buy a couple, but I wanted my Honda, my 78 Honda. But the guy in Europe, which I was always talking to about getting it, he went and sold it out from under me to a friend of mine. So I'm kind of working the friend a little bit.
What would a bike like that get now? I mean,
oh, well, which one? You're talking about the Suzuki or the Honda? The Honda got second in the World Championship. The Suzuki got first in the World Championship.
What would your buddy sell you this Honda for, do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't got any numbers out of them. And I can't even, I can't remember. I think I do remember. Maybe, I don't remember the numbers. I'd just be guessing. But, like, for example, Wolsink's 75 Suzuki that he claimed that it was the one he won the Carlsbad GP on. He had 2 of those, and he sold them both for $80,000 a piece.
You're kidding me.
Stock, unrestored, just factory 76 Suzukis.
Okay, so you're giving me an idea of ballpark. That's all I was after.
And mine's the only one left, kind of. They crushed them all and destroyed them, and this one just happened to be left at Harry Everett's house because he wanted to ride it in the Belgium Championship, and then they forgot about it. And then I got it from the guy that he sold it to. Yeah. And so there's probably one of my bikes, and that's the one that won the championship, and it's got some number ones, associated with it. I think it's double the Wolsink price.
That's crazy, man. It's cool you found it. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it was neat. So
then you came home and you won Axton here again that year. You must have liked that track. You did good at Sugar Tree.
Yeah, it was a good track.
6th in Ohio. Anything about the U.S., those races over here? And then were the Trans Ams still going on? And were you coming back to those?
No, let me think. The last Trans Am was 82 or something.
Okay.
So yeah, they're still 76, 75. Yeah, we rode all the Trans Ams, probably 10, 75, 76, 77. I rode them on the Honda in 78. So 79, there was some 250 stuff anyway. By 80, it was over, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Any of those that stood out? Like, did you win any of those?
I won Series Point in 77 or 8 on my Honda.
Was that when you blew Hannah off the track? Wasn't there a year up somewhere?
That's when Hannah ran into me, yeah.
Oh, ran into me. Okay, I like that. What happened there?
That track was really nice, you know. It was real rough.
That's the grassy one, right?
Yeah, yeah. It had big lips, and you know, it's like Europe.
Yeah.
I got to lay it out actually. That's why.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so anyway, we were going up that hill, and then I got sideways in the grass or something, or he center punched me and knocked me sideways. There's some video, but I don't really remember exactly what happened. But I ended up winning that day, and Hannah was not happy, but he's never happy.
No, it doesn't seem like he is. Maybe, yeah.
I mean,
so did he come over and say anything to you after that or
no?
No?
I mean, we never got to race much together, you
Yeah.
know, ever, hardly. I mean, that was like only a few times in the Trans Am, you know, because, you know, he rode 125s and 250s and stuff. And the only time he was on a big bike was, I think, Trans Am Series. And, you know, we weren't ever really dueling or anything except for that one time.
Yeah. And you got the better of him. He probably is pretty pissed off about that.
Well, I'm sure he beat me enough times.
Yeah. You guys didn't have any issues. He
No,
just
no.
he didn't like anybody.
No, exactly. Yeah, we just, you know, gave him shit all the time because he was so angry.
That's great. All right, we kind of covered that. So 76, still on Huskies again?
Yeah.
3 years with Huskies,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
How did you finally get reliability sorted out? Were they working with you on that, or was it just sort of Groundhog Day?
Like you said, I had to go make an aluminum swing arm myself and used it, and my chain stayed on for like 5 races instead of falling off, and then the swing arm broke, of course, you know, because we just whipped it out, and it wasn't, you know, meant to be
Sure.
10-year swing arm, you know.
Yeah.
It was just to keep the chain on. And so then they go, oh, see, it broke. Oh, yeah, but I finished 4 other races that
Yeah.
I wanted of, you know. Get it? Now make a good one like this one.
Yeah.
But then I was going to Honda, so it didn't matter.
Were you looking early on in that season, like, I need to be here?
Um,
Or how did that come to be?
Honda?
Yeah.
No, not really. I think my contracts were with Japan, not Honda US. So you know they bought me for the GPs. You know that's what they wanted me for, not racing over here. So that was just extra stuff by riding here. You know, Trans Ams and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know they figured that within a year or so I would be up there, and you know I should have been, you know, a little bit earlier than I did. You know, I should have won in 80, and I got second in 78 to Heike. But, you know, I had some bad, you know, 79, I had a bike that broke every week. So, you know, you just don't know how soon it's going to happen. It's just you got to have good luck. You got to have great bikes. You got to have motivation. You got to be in shape, all the things. So I did everything I could do, but some things you can't do, you know, so.
I heard you had a little nickname for a while, Bad Lucky.
Yeah.
This is kind of what they called you.
Yeah.
So in that era, you know, mid-70s, what was the team to be on? Was there a team, a factory that...
Well, Honda was good. I mean, they had really great bikes. But then again, you can't change anything. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they got Croft, Tommy on the same bike as me, you know, and everybody can't do much changing. So you're handicapped to get the best out of the bike and the results. And, you know, they still didn't get it that you have to adjust the bikes for the riders, you know. They still hadn't figured that out by 77, you know.
Seems crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you could say, hey, change my shock like this, you know, or something like that, but you can't really do anything major. You know.
And if you tried to do something on your own, they'd be like, take that off.
Yeah.
That's not,
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. So 76, take me through that season real quick.
Had a lot of...
Were you getting frustrated at all? Because I feel like, you know, 78, 80, you were second in the championship both times, but up until 78, you know, the results were good, but did you ever feel like, man, I'm not going to win. Am I ever going to get this championship?
After 80, when Mallard center punched me in the first turn, and if I won the last moto, I still wasn't going to win because of the points. And that that season, right after that race, I kind of went, man, I'm getting so much crap happening here, and even though I could win that last moto, I'm still not going to win because of what happened, So I did have some doubts around then, and Kawasaki they went all in 80 and built a really good bike and spent a lot of money, and to make up for the 79 season. And then they quit. They said, okay, that was it. We gave it a shot. You got second, so Honda still wins. And I think going into 81, I wasn't sure, because I didn't have a ride, I didn't, Honda, I couldn't go back there. Husky, could go back, but didn't want to.
Did you burn those bridges, or
no.
just once you've kind of been there, that it's we've already danced,
Every one of my contracts was up. I never got fired ever. I never quit a contract. I ran them out the way they should have been done. But 81 and 82 was just like this 2008 recession. It was the same thing. All the money was gone. Nobody had no money. Everything took a big crap. And Kawasaki quit. Suzuki wasn't even in the 500 class for 5 years after DeCoster won in 76 or 5. So they hadn't even had a bike. And Yamaha had Carlquist, one rider. Kawasaki had Thorpe on my older stuff, my last year stuff. And nobody was going to spend any money, and so they weren't selling any bikes, so they weren't going to go spend a bunch of race money.
Yeah. So
Suzuki came to me with an offer, and I said, all right, I'll give it one more shot, but we gotta, you're so far behind not having a 500 bike in 5-6 years racing the GPs. What do you think?
Yeah.
You're just going to pull out Roger's bike and it's going to work?
Yeah, that's...
And they did. They thought, oh yeah, he won on it.
In 81, that's what you got?
Oh, it was just so slow and old, and it was like a 370 or something, and everybody's gone to full 500s, for years already. So I had a big struggle year in 81, trying to get the thing to be up to par like everybody else had, and that didn't please them either, because you can't tell the engineers and the guys, hey, your stuff's junk, they don't want to hear that. So you're a little behind the schedule here, we got to do some changes, and so they thought it was not going to be like that. I don't know how they could thought it wasn't going to be like that,
Yeah.
And so they all pissed off at me, and now okay, so forget the contract. We stop racing. We just pay you. I said, well, yeah, you got to pay me. And if you quit, I'm not quitting, you're quitting. So I want to keep my money. So give me my money. And I'm going to lay by the pool in California. That's what you want, right? And they go, yeah. I go, why would you do that? Well, we don't have to hire a mechanic. We don't have to buy a van. We don't have to build some bikes. We save lots of money. I said, okay.
This was in 81? They were going to just pay you out and be done?
Yeah. And so I had to pull the bluff card out and said, well, Kawasaki wants me back, and they're going to give me the same money you're paying me, and you have to pay me too. So I'm going to make more than I've ever made in my life, and I guarantee you, whoever you hire, I'll beat them. That scared him.
Yeah.
So then the guy, he knew I was serious. So the guy goes, okay. Everything back to normal. I said,
never mind what I say.
Yeah. I said, really? He goes, yeah, back to normal. And I said, I don't know. Let me think. So I said, okay, how about a meeting next Tuesday? So we go to this big meeting, and he goes, okay, back to normal. And I said, you sure, right? Yeah. So, okay. I said, all right, give me one more week. We have one more meeting. Okay. So I go home, and I'm reading my contract. I'm going, I know I'm getting boned here. I just can't figure out how, because there's got to be something in there that they're going to do that is going to, because they got to pay me anyway. And this will keep me off Kawasaki, and whoever they hire, that guy will beat me, and they'll be happy, and I'll be sad.
Yeah.
So I go, what are they going to do? So I'm laying there with Lori, and I'm going, what do you think? Oh, no, they'll do what they say. I said, well, yeah, normally they do. And so I'm reading my contract, and it says, we'll supply bikes and parts. We'll supply bikes and parts. It doesn't say factory bikes. It says bikes. So I'm going, they're going to give me stockers because they got to pay me anyway. And then I won't be able to compete against the guy they do hire on the factory bike. So I'll be riding around, and also on the contract, you can't badmouth the product. You can't say it's a piece of crap or anything. So I have to keep my lip buttoned and ride around on an inferior stalker against our factory guy, and then they win and I lose. I go, I bet that's it. That's got to be it. So I go back and I made a new amendment to the contract. Will supply me with full factory bikes just like any other riders of the season for 82, la, 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 la. And he says, okay, everything good? I said, yeah, just one paper. I have to have you sign paper. Put it over to him. He looks at it. He goes, grabs a pen. You're very clever.
Oh, yeah. So you were right. Is that right?
Yeah, they were going to do that.
So was it someone from Japan coming over for the meetings?
Well, we were in Europe, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were over there. So, yeah, that was kind of their plan. But it really backfired. Not on them, because now they got first and second in the 500 class, won the Manufacturers World Championship, beat Honda for the first time ever. And, what more could they want? That's the best you can do.
Yeah.
And so it worked to their advantage.
All right. Well, I want to talk more about that. Let's take a quick break. This is your Toilet Designs Timeout. Stay tuned. We're going to be back to finish up here with Brad Lackey. Fellas, have you started spring cleaning yet? The carpets need cleaning, the drapes need dusting, and your lawn needs mowing. Spring has sprung, and the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming have the best tools for cleaning aisle 5 in your pants. Time to clear out your winter bush and join the other 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping globally using the code Whiskey Throttle. Manscaped has the full package you need for spring cleaning this year. The Performance Package 4.0 is the only tool you need to keep your boys looking and smelling like the fresh tulips your partner wants. To start off your spring cleaning, use the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer to get the most precise shave on your hedges. Did we mention it's waterproof as well? No need to worry about watering your grass with this tool. Equipped with an LED light so you'll know it'll be a major asset to the new shower routine. Clear your holes and smell the spring air with the Weed Whacker. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology which helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. After clearing your nose, make sure you get rid of that foul ball smell with the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver. The Crop Preserver is an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. The Crop Reviver is a spray-on toner for your balls. Keep your boys from sticking to your leg and leave them smelling like fresh flowers. Finish off your grooming routine with the Plow 2.0, the perfect razor for the finest shave on your face. Because if you're using the Lawnmower 4.0 on your balls and your face, you're doing it wrong, fellas. The start of spring also marks the start of Testicular Cancer Awareness Month in April. Manscaped has partnered with the Testicular Cancer Society to bring awareness to testicular cancer, men's health, and early cancer detection. Manscaped is committed to raising awareness for the most common form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35 and giving support for fighters, survivors, and families impacted by testicular cancer as part of their We Save Balls initiative. Smell oh so fresh and so clean this spring and check yourself before you wreck yourself. So, get 20% off plus free shipping globally using the code Whiskey Throttle at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping using the code Whiskey Throttle. No capitals, no spaces over at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life.
Dunlop. There is a reason every AMA championship in the past decade was won on Dunlop tires. They are the best. Choose the best performing tire and a brand that has never wavered in their support of our sport. Choose Dunlop. Pro Circuit. Pro Circuit products are designed with one goal in mind: winning. Through passion and hard work, Pro Circuit has operated the most successful 250 team in the history of the sport. They use that same formula when developing exhaust, engine, and suspension parts for every brand. When only the highest level of performance is acceptable, trust Pro Circuit.
Since 2009, Seat Concepts has been dedicated to making the best aftermarket seats. More comfort, more grip, more riding. 10 years, we've continued to raise the bar. Innovation and American craftsmanship make Seat Concepts the world-leading manufacturer of power sports seats.
Something from nothing. That's what Nihilo Concepts is about. It starts with a spark, an idea, a concept, which leads to a design, and finishes with engineered excellence with the highest quality products created with durability in mind. All our products are made in the USA at our state-of-the-art facility in Stuart, Florida. Whether you are a weekend warrior, ride for fun, or at the highest level of competition, Nihilo Concepts offers innovative titanium, aluminum, and carbon fiber parts for your dirt bike. We offer a wide variety of products that you can customize to your liking. Browse our site for foot pegs, brake tips, engine components, specialty tools, frame grip tape, lever grips, carbon fiber components, motor stands, our secondary on-switch, plus much more. Head to NihiloConcepts.com and see for yourself why factory teams like Red Bull KTM, Rockstar Husqvarna, Troy Lee Designs Gas, Orange Brigade, Club MX, KLM Gas, and some of the fastest riders in the world choose Nihilo Concepts.
Specialized Bicycles. Specialized leads the way in the world of bicycling. Whether it's cross-country racing, downhill, e-bikes, enduro, road, gravel, dual slalom, dirt jumping, or all mountain bikes that do it all, Specialized has the perfect ride for you. The brand is synonymous with engineering excellence and innovation that steers the industry. Visit your local Specialized dealer for a test ride and see just how good Specialized products are.
I try to keep on keeping on.
OGO Power Sports. OGO has perfected the carrying case. Motocross gear bags, helmet bags, boot bags, hydration packs, backpacks, and travel bags, to name a few, have all been meticulously engineered to maximize space and surpass durability standards that would make NASA proud. Simply the best. OGO Power Sports.
Connected. Mesh intercom on.
It's cool to be able to hear what they talk about and how fast they go, throttle control, braking. Really cool.
Extend your leg out. There you go. Good job. Good throttle control, Lonnie.
That's a great training tool. It was a lot of fun to be on the track with them.
Hey, Lano.
What?
Can you pull off over here when you get to me and your brother?
Okay.
With a rich history in motocross, ProX has been dedicated to supplying quality components since 1975. Whether you're rebuilding an engine or just need a new chain, ProX Racing Parts aims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability. ProX has over 9,000 part numbers and over 60 different product types that are manufactured by highly reputable or even OEM suppliers and are offered at affordable prices to help keep riders on the bike instead of in the garage. Visit ProX.com to search parts for your bike or check them out at your favorite online or local dealer.
Audio Jungle.
The guys are just breaking in their race bikes, which will leave on the semi this Saturday to go to the first Supercross for our coast in Orlando. So the guys are just be goofing off a little bit, do some cool photos, do some cool videos. When you go racing, you want to do well, but a big key is keeping the bikes on the track. That's why we chose to work with Motul.
Expectations coming in as a rookie is just to try and get my feet wet and honestly just send it, see where I end up and do my best out there, but just ride aggressive and ride like myself in practice and I should have a good time.
Challenges of this sport, I believe, is just simply staying healthy. With how fast we're going and what we're doing, your margin for mistake is really, really small.
Stay Sick. If you have little rippers, then you have had to have seen Stay Sick bikes by now. We have created bike and experiences that allow kids to develop sooner and empower them to find their own ride. From learning to ride to sharpening skills, the Stay Sick promise is accelerated growth. Whatever path your family chooses, it's going to be the ride of your life. Stay Sick Stability Cycles.
You ever heard the phrase that the harder you work, the luckier you are? Well, at Luck Apparel, they believe in an acronym that kind of sums it up a little more simply than that: laboring under complete knowledge. So it isn't just some random chance that determines what your outcome or results are going to be. It's being educated and working your butt off to get it done. And I think that goes hand in hand with the motocross industry. You don't get lucky into a win. You work your ass off and you make it happen. So check out Luck Apparel. They've got t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, all kinds of cool stuff. And we're stoked to have them on board here at the Whiskey Throttle Show in 2022. If you're in the market for a toy hauler trailer, car trailer, cargo trailer, look no further than Custom Outfitters, one of our new partners for this year. These guys do an awesome job, even so far as to dial in the inside of Sprinter vans, which have become the new standard moto transportation for moto. These guys can handle it all. They use ATC world-class trailers, top shelf service and performance in their products. Custom Outfitters out of South Dakota doing an awesome job. We're stoked to have these guys on board this year. So whether you're looking to just do some camping with the family, looking for a trailer that can fit all your toys to go out to the desert or wherever, look no further than Custom Outfitters.
Hey, I'm on vacation every single day because I love my occupation. Hey, I'm on vacation. If you don't like your life, then you should go and change it.
All right, folks, welcome back. That was your Troy Lee Designs timeout. Get over to troyleedesigns.com. Check out everything they've got up right now. All the new SE5 helmets are out, and there's some amazing designs. SE5, SE4, polycarbonate, or polyacrylite rather, and also the GP helmets, all available. Awesome Troy Lee Design styling and some incredible safety features that they've implemented to really up the safety status for all these things. Love the stuff they've got going on. Check them out. I want to jump back in here in 76. You did a bunch of handful of U.S. races that year again, some 250 and 500 stuff. But how was your GP season in 76?
Well, I think, like I said, there was quite a few thirds and fourths, because Roger and Hakey were, every week. And, then you had Wolfsink and still Adolf and Banked and, a lot of guys. And then there wasn't, the new Belgians weren't there yet. The new kid, Malherbe and Vromans and those guys there, they weren't there till 80 or 79, basically. But, until winning that last moto, I really didn't really have, let's say, a victory and then a bike broke or I fell off or something. I just wasn't never quite up there, So I didn't lose anything by any problems. I just wasn't quite. Roger and Heike were tooth and nail going for the championship, so they were, fast as they could go every weekend. So I was just not quite there at that time.
Just to tick off the pace. Yeah.
But, the final race, it was, that's why I won the World Championship too, that track. So it's a grass track, and grass is my forte. I like that. So that's usually where I do the best. And it's a long track. It's 2.5 minutes, almost 3 minutes long. And real rough, real natural.
Fast?
Yeah, fast. No jumps. I mean, natural jump stuff, but no fake stuff. So it's just really a good track.
What was your favorite track over there of all the GPs you did?
Well, I like that one, Edelbrook, Luxembourg. And I like Sittendorf, Austria, too. It's a grass track, but a little bit harder.
Okay.
And just all natural, up and down hills, and, just not prep, move the cows and go, So, a grass track was always my favorite. I got to the point where, because I lived in Belgium and we trained so much, sand was not a problem either. I could ride sand just as good as the sand guys. And so if it was sand or grass, I was pretty happy. What I didn't like was hard, like Saddleback and Carlsbad and Italy and
Spain. You didn't like the hard
France.
packs,
I don't like hard pack, no. I mean, it just brings in so many more things you need to have. You got to have the perfect right tire on that stuff. Or if it's sand or mud or grass, pick a tire.
You can make it work,
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But there you're going, okay, where's the Bridgestone, this, that, that. If you don't have one, you're at a disadvantage, And
it was probably a different time where some of that stuff was hard to get.
Oh, yeah.
Right? If you weren't the top, if you weren't DeCoster or...
Yeah, and if you had a contract with Metzler or Dunlop, you're not getting the Bridgestone to start with. So,
I also heard you say you hated Namur, and I I did a supermoto race over there, not too far from that, and we stopped.
Did you go off the track?
I did. What I could tell where it was, and I'm just thinking, this is nuts. You know, the tree, like you go off the track, you're dead.
Yeah,
in a lot of places.
Yeah, that was, you know, one reason why I didn't like it was because it's always the last 2-3 races of the season, you know, so you're down to fighting a Belgium guy at Namur, you know, and with 1 or 2 races left. That's either the next to last one, or it's never the last one, so it's either the third or second to the last. And it's dangerous as hell, you know, and if you're in a situation where you got to beat somebody, you got to get points, you got to take risks there, and then that risk is big, because if you screw up there, like you said, you're done for the season. You're done for maybe a long time.
Yeah.
So it's,
there was one place where I thought you could go off this cliff and be dead. You could hit a tree at any time. It was just lined with trees.
Yeah.
But there was also like, you could just tell it was high speed and holes, and then you got shadows from the trees.
Yeah.
It was like the worst of all things.
Did
really.
you have anybody showing you where it's supposed to go?
No, we were kind of just wandering. And
I wish I could have been there and shown you where it really went, because it is serious, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd watched races there, so I kind of knew where it went, but there were some spots I'm like, I don't know where it goes from here or whatever.
Yeah,
but the shit I could make out, I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah. I mean, the start's spectacular there. They had, you know, the Roman seating behind it, you know, and giant big sweeper turns and stuff, and then you jump down into those trees. So
I'm sure it was awesome to spectate or like a spectacle to see, but I would not want to been on a 500. You know, no thank you. Okay, so I got another story I heard. You helped develop Kawasaki's jet ski.
Yeah.
Was it Weiner that was helping you too? Tell me the story on that.
Yeah, we were both working with Kawasaki at that time, you know, racing, and during the time that we weren't testing motorcycles or going to the races, they would take the jet skis down to Lake Carlsbad. That's a little lake right off the freeway there.
Yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah, and we'd take them down there, and we'd just beat them all day and try to make them break and jump them over the ski ramps and you know, figure out, okay, when you fall off it flat out, how long does it take for the thing to slow down and turn around, and how far do you got to swim, you know? And, you know, we do reports. It needs to come back a little faster. It needs to shut down quicker, you know. The bottom, if we change the, you know, the V holes, you know, so it turns better. And, you know, we just did all that kind of stuff with them and just basically just beat on them to see if they'd break.
That had to be pretty fun.
Oh, that was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
I don't think that would happen these days.
No, I don't think so.
It's a different time for sure.
Yeah, that's like Yamaha giving Eli a new Yamaha jet boat or whatever they call them, and go, okay, here, go beat on this thing at Havasu for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to work. All right, so 77, you signed with Honda. 2-year deal, right?
Yeah.
How, you know, take me through some of that, like how that came to be. Was there anything, did you leave Husky kind of with a bad taste in your mouth?
No, you know, my contract was a 3-year contract, and it was up, and, you know, and I didn't have any responsibility to sign another one with them. And, you know, they weren't totally happy with me complaining about, you know, things going wrong with the bike, and Heike winning every race and nothing going wrong. So, you know, I'm the thorn, you know.
Yeah.
They don't need me there. They got a guy that's winning, and I'm just telling them that they need to improve stuff, and they never want to hear that. You know?
Well, how did he not break a bike? Like, I think he's a big old monstrous man too. How's he not throwing chains, and how's he not having issues?
Different riding style, you know. That's all I can tell you.
Do you think he was getting shit you weren't? Like,
no.
Okay.
No. I mean, Honda and Husky and all those guys, you know, they did that all right. They made sure you got the right stuff after I made that little addendum.
Yeah.
But it's just.
Have you always been kind of notoriously hard on bikes? You kind of ride them hard?
Yeah. I break a lot of stuff. You know, because I'm riding it like I'm doing to my body, you know. It needs to be punished.
Yeah.
To go as good as it can go, you know. And sometimes, you know, you just go, yeah.
Well, it's hard when you're like, okay, I need to go fast here, but then you've got to inside dial it down and go, okay, well, not here because you know, I got to go easy here, but okay, now go hard. It's like, that would be tough. You know, when guys talk about preserving the bike and that, I'm thinking that would be difficult for me.
Yeah, that's Jeff Smith's favorite deal. Win as slow as you can possibly win.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't work that way either.
Yeah. I mean, we have our deals, and you can't change everything. I mean, you can adjust a little bit, but you can't. I can't become a rider like Roger.
Yeah.
He rides up on the front and right there, and balls on the tank, and shit, I'm way back there with my butt hanging off the back of the seat, and just doesn't. So his bike would not work for me, and my bike would not work for him.
Absolutely. So okay, take me through that year.
Let's see. I had one good race in Sweden. I won a moto on the first year on that Honda, and I only won one moto that year, maybe one overall or something.
So July 3rd, I thought this was interesting. July 3rd, you won.
Oh, in England, huh?
In England.
On the grass track, yeah.
You became the first American to win a 500 GP.
Yeah. Yeah, I won a moto in Sweden prior to that, but my chain fell off in the second moto, on the Honda even. And then in England, the Farley Castle, it's a grass track.
Oh, it was Farley?
Yeah,
okay.
It's the grass track.
Yeah.
It's bad. I think I've won it 3 times.
Okay. Wow, I didn't know that. I went there, 3 years ago for the Vet Motocross Nations.
Yeah.
And that's a motocross track.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. That's what I'm saying. Those kind of tracks are just great. You can they get faster as the day goes on, and the rougher it gets, you can pull. I was pulling, you can pull 5 seconds faster at the end of the second moto than the fastest practice time. I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
That's when the track's working.
Well, I actually showed these guys some pictures of it today, where the turn, kind of the uphill that takes you to the top, and how rough that thing gets. Kind of sweeps right and goes up. And I mean, they're pretty wide, the tracks.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a smooth line from the wood stakes over here to over here.
Yeah.
It's just chop and shit everywhere.
Yeah. It's a nice track though.
If you're in shape and you're on a good bike, a blast.
Yeah.
Right. So was that? That had to be. What was that moment like?
That race was usually on the 4th of July too, every year.
Yeah, well, I thought, man, if it was the 4th, that would have been bitching, but close enough.
Yeah. So, I don't really remember it being like my first GP win,
You didn't
for some
really
reason.
over-celebrate or anything?
No, I had a couple of those other moto victories earlier, one in 75, one, maybe some in 76, and that one in 77 before that one. So, I didn't count those as overall victories, but winning a moto is, in Europe.
Winning.
Yeah, it's winning, and especially if your chain falls off in the other moto, so, hey, I did what I could do. So I don't really remember just going, all right, this is the first GP ever for an American. I don't remember that for some reason.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like maybe you didn't appreciate wins enough at the time? Because I tell guys now, anyone that'll listen to me, if you win, man, just take it in.
Yeah.
Because you never know when that last one is coming.
Oh, yeah.
Just breathe it in, man. Like, take some time and enjoy it. Shit.
Yeah.
It's just those don't come easy. And
no, they don't. Anyway, so, that was, like I said, that's one of my favorite tracks. And I won in 82 there on the Suzuki, and I won either 78 or 79. I probably broke down, but 78 I might have won. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I won 3 times there.
Huh. Did they still have the staircase down back then?
Oh, yeah.
I was telling them that, that staircase, the history of that, right? That valley was used as a jousting field. And so they'd put people up there to watch on those steps.
That was steps, yeah.
Yeah. I love the history of that stuff. Like I said, I dork out on that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I had a nice few pints with John Bonham up at the Bar Castle right there.
No way. Really? What was that like? What was he doing in town? Just out there watching?
His kid, Jason, he rode the mini bike class when I was there in 77, 78. So he was like schoolboy, they call it, So he was wanting me, because I was the guy, I guess. So he wanted me to give him tips, and I gave him some goggles and, took him out there and showed him a few little things. And then, so it was over a course of, I guess, a couple years. So then one of the following years, I don't know, maybe it was 78 or no, 79. Yeah, 79. I was on Cowie because I got green jackets on. Yeah. So anyway, then he comes back after, we met him a couple of years and had some beers and stuff and helped the kid out. Comes back and he goes, "Hey, Brad, come here. I got something for you." I go, "What do you got?" He goes, "I got this gold record for $1 million worth of sales for American Graffiti." Yeah, that's it, right? Presented to John Bonham, his name on it, his record. I go, "Man, you can't give me that." He goes, "Fuck, we got so many of them. We shoot him the skeet off the back deck."
So you still have that? That's
yeah.
freaking awesome.
Got pictures of him handing it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually met his son, Jason, at Bercy one year.
Yeah.
Big
he's-
moto fan.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Okay, so
That's my Led Zeppelin story.
That's a great one. Man,
That's a pretty
great one.
tame one, you know, for those guys.
Yeah, probably. So how about the next year? So where did you end up that season in 77?
I got fourth.
Okay. And
Heike was just got his Yamaha, and he was killing it, and Roger was still right up there, and I forget, maybe Wolfson got third or something, I think probably.
Yeah. And then what about the following season? So 78. This was the one. Well, I'll let you tell me about that season. 78.
78. The bike was really good. Didn't have any problems with it. Let's see what happened at Carlsbad. As usual, something I'm sure.
You never had good luck at Carlsbad?
Never. I always broke or fell off, you know, because of that hard ground. 78 was just a good, solid year, you know. Heike, oh yeah, that's what happened. Heike and I were still in the hunt down to the last race at Luxembourg. No, actually, Luxembourg, then there was one more race, and it was Holland. They had it a little switched around there. So at Luxembourg, it's raining and it's kind of muddy. And Heike and I take off the first moto start, and we get our handlebars tangled going off the line. So we're kind of fighting to get loose, you know, and it was muddy. And so when it broke loose, it pitched me sideways, and I was in the lead basically. And I high-sided, and then Van Velthoven hit me in the back with his giant KTM and giant jack. and I ended up getting a stinger, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was paralyzed. I couldn't get up. I couldn't move. And I was gurgling like my lungs were doing something weird.
Did you puncture a lung or have a collapse lung?
I don't know. I don't think so, because they didn't do anything about it, but it was something
weird.
Yeah,
huh?
something like that. So anyway, they cart me up, take me to the hospital, and
Well, I mean, you're laying there in the muck and can't move.
Yeah.
What's going through your head? Are you freaking out?
Yeah, I'm kind of freaking out. I'm going.
I mean, that's everybody's.
Yeah.
Everyone that swings a leg over a bike, right? That's the biggest fear.
Yeah.
And there you are.
Yeah, and I got, hit right directly in the back. So no telling, I don't know what's going on yet. So anyway, they take me to the hospital and do some x-rays and roll me around. And about 2 hours later, I'm going, hey, yeah.
It's coming back.
It's coming back. So everything was okay. It was just, like they said, a stinger that hit something nerve. And so then I went back to the track and watched Heike win the second moto, and there went my chances for the championship because I couldn't ride the last race because I was jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
So I got second that year. But he was leading. I had a shot. If anything happened to him, which nothing always does, he just finishes perfectly. The bike never breaks.
He was pretty lucky that way.
Well, lucky that bike problems never affected him much, but and he rides the bikes hard, so if they're gonna break, they'll break with him riding them. But just you gotta have some luck sometimes, and that time was not good for me, but it taught me a lot about the points. Points are the points, and that's all you have to protect is the points.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make sure you get points and you keep them and you don't lose any, and the day that you lose them, you got to make up for that somehow, so
that was kind of the end of your season there, but no residual at all from that crash.
Nothing.
Yeah, pretty scary laying on the ground. Did that give you any kind of second thoughts on what you were doing?
No, it was 78. I still wasn't I still wanted
still
it
young
bad.
And dumb enough. Yeah.
So that didn't even enter my mind that this could slow me down.
So you were second for the second time.
That was the first time. Second.
Oh, 80. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, are you feeling like, okay, man, I'm close. I can. That has to be. Motivating.
I figured 79 I would win because Heike was. I had him kind of in my sights. I was getting better and faster, and then when I switched to the Kawasaki, that just blew that whole thing up because the bike wasn't as far along in development as they sold it to me as, and so that year I was in the best shape of my career, 79, and I could win any GP any day. I could beat everybody, but the bike broke every other week. So I won like 6 motos more than anybody, and I broke down 12, or something. It was just
I
crazy.
can't even imagine that, man. Like, that's just so, it does, that just doesn't happen anymore. If you have a DNF, it's a big deal.
Oh, yeah. And we're breaking frames in half, and, I got pictures of bikes with front ends out there and this and that, and motors blowing. And, they were just piecing it together with stuff they had, which, we made it work. But it just broke down because it wasn't ready. And then the next year they made a beautiful bike, but then I kind of got screwed in the last race again, So.
Okay, well, let's get there. So 79, or 78 rather, second. 79, you're on Cowie. The bike's breaking all the time. Was that the year you came over and did you do some Supercrosses in 79? Oh, no.
No,
you didn't. What I wanted to ask about was, that's right, you and Wynant were buddies.
Yeah.
Infamously, he races the Oakland Supercross with that paddle tire. And there's a photo, and I always have wondered this. Why does he have this big, weird neck donut on? And then I heard the story. So tell this, because this is a great story, and I think it's a little bit of history that probably a lot of people don't know.
Well, there's 2 stories to the tire, which I just heard the other one not that long ago, and I'm going, where did that story come from? Because that's not what I remember. But the tire, 79, I rode La 2K. Have you ever heard that race?
The beach race.
Yeah. 11 kilometers
Is that
straight
crazy?
away. Yeah, that's why.
It looked fun, and then after a lap, you see the track. I'm like, no.
So I had a paddle tire on my Kawasaki.
Okay.
And it worked great. I was just going, man, in the corners, you gassing on wheelies and coming out turns. And so I had it at home, and Jimmy's riding the Oakland race, and I'm going, it's pretty sandy out there, Jammer. Why don't we try my paddle tire? What is it? I said, I got it. It works in the sand. Okay, so he puts it on, and he liked it. And so then they...
Was it in practice, or when did he put it on?
Yeah, he had it on in practice, but nobody,
No one really
cared or looked, Anyway, so then when Hannah complained that he was getting roosted so hard, then they outlawed it that night, but he won the race, know. And so it was, paddle tire. And then the neck thing, it was a little rental car accident that was at my house up at my ranch. Jammer wanted to see how far the rental car would go up the motocross track, but it's big hills, So then he turns around, comes back down. Instead of just going straight down, he starts whipping it, and it catches a cow track and 7 snap rolls. And Jimmy's head's outside the window, knocked out with the roof laying on the seats, on the headrest.
Oh, he really always knocked out.
So we got him to the hospital, and he just had a strained neck, so he had to wear that.
I heard you thought he might have been dead.
I did. Yeah, because he was out, and like I said, the roof was on the little seat thing, the headrest, and
didn't you get flipped into the back and ripped your pants off or something?
Yeah, I was in the back, and the roof and the thing was only that much room, and his head's hanging out there. I gotta figure he's hurt bad,
Oh man!
So we got away with one there.
So he sprained his neck, so that's why he's wearing.
Right.
A neck donut at the Oakland Supercross. So I have a photo we'll drop in, but to me it tied together a lot of questions I had about. I mean, the paddle tire obviously has been told a million times, but I thought that was really interesting. Why did you never did any Supercrosses, huh? Was that not your jam? You were kind of.
No, I did the first 2.
Oh, okay. LA Coliseum. Okay.
Yeah. I might have got second or third in one of those, and but I was riding that Kawasaki I was talking about earlier, so it wasn't really exactly right. Oh, and so that was one time, but I rode a Husky in one, so we all know the reputation of how well a Husky turns.
Sure.
So how's that working out in the Coliseum?
Not great.
Not that good for me, right?
Maybe if there's big berms in every corner.
Yeah, there wasn't any. So anyway, that didn't work, and the Kawasaki wasn't very good. It was just, like I said, enduro that they tried to make a race bike out of. So, I didn't have great results, and I'm a 500 guy, and I need more room.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I mean, you like high speed and horsepower. All right, so that brings us into 1980. Second overall again this year. Tell us what happened that season. How was that one going?
Mallard, Belgium, he got a KTM. He was a Zundap 125 world champ, I think, in 76 or something like that. Then he got a KTM, and he was riding around in the 500s with all of us in 78 anyway, 9. And that gave him enough time to develop better skills. And then he got a factory Honda in 80. And like I said, he's a big guy, big, strong guy. And so he was pretty strong and pretty dominant on that. So him and I dueled out that whole season. And it was down to the last race at Luxembourg. And I think, I don't remember if he was leading me by 2 points or him. I can't remember.
But it was that close, 2 points.
Yeah, it was something really small. It was smaller than 82, and that was only like 6 points.
Yeah.
So it was, we went first moto, we go into the first turn, and I'm in front of him, and then instead of turning, he just goes straight and center punches me and knocks me into the fence. So I'm dead last, laying there in the mud, and I get up, and I can only get to 4th before the race is over. And I think he won. I'm pretty sure he did. No, this is 80. No, Roger won. Roger won the first moto, and Mallory got second. Okay. And I got 4th. So now that points made it where if I won the last moto and he got second, he'd still win.
Oh, really?
So I'm leading the race, winning the race, and I'm just going, well, what do I do? Ride around, win the moto, or wait for him? So I owe him already, right? Mm-hmm. I waited for him, and but I got 60,000 Belgian fans not appreciating my riding style against him because they didn't see the first turn. They were all, around the whole track, and so I messed with him a little bit, and I didn't do anything hard to him to really hurt him or knock him down, so that didn't work out. So there went the championship.
So you won the moto, but he got the.
No, I didn't even win it because I was trying to knock him off. Then I crashed, I think.
Oh.
But it wouldn't have made any difference.
Shit.
I could have got last.
Was 3rd even close or no?
No.
Yeah. No. Huh. Frustrating.
Yeah, it was bad.
Was that one tough to take, or?
Yeah, that one was because going in, I did everything right and I had it figured out, and that's my favorite track. I'm faster in practice. I mean, this is the stuff they do though. Like it's the Mallard and me going for the championship in their country, so practice times determine where you get on the gate, when you get to go out there and pick your spot. So all my guys, all the Japanese and everybody, okay, yeah, you're fastest in practice, good. So anyway, the results come out, okay, you're 15th,
No.
Yeah, of course. So I'm 15th and Mallard's first. So he gets picked a good spot, and there's mud and, and water even, so you got to have a right spot. So anyway, Graham they had him in second or third, and he was on my team. So I said, Graham, you're not in the hunt today. When you go up there, pick that spot right there, and then when I come out, back up and I'll take it. So that's what he does. He's right there. I come out and he backs up. I put him, the flags are going and guys are screaming and hands are waving, and Graham goes, I changed my mind. I want to go over here in the mud hole.
Oh, that probably frustrated him.
Oh, yeah, but they're screwing me so hard anyway, So, and there's no rule about that, I didn't break any rules. So, I mean, that's the stuff you got to go against, and that just makes it even harder.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you finished that season, and why the switch to Suzuki, and how does that go down?
Well, Honda, they
or Kawasaki.
Yeah. They, like I said, quit, and it was that bad time.
Oh, so they were just done.
Yeah, they just bailed. They didn't. They had a plan of giving it an effort for 2 years or something. I don't know. They don't tell you that stuff. And Yamaha had one rider, Carl Quist, and everybody else was down to nothing. And Suzuki, like I said, hadn't even been in there, so they came back and decided to go back in the 500 class. They've been winning the 125 and 250 every year with Gabors and Jobé and all that. So they, had those things tied up, but the 500, they didn't have anybody and they didn't have a bike. So, we had to develop that bike for 1981 to try to get it up to par.
How far off was it?
It was, motor-wise, it had to be completely changed. Everything else you can you can do. But, you got to have a motor that works on a 500 that's got some horsepower, I mean, like my Suzuki in 82, it's a 4-speed and you start in third,
You started in third?
Yeah, shift one time. Maybe second if you overshoot a turn and you got to do some engine braking.
Jeez, all right.
Yeah. I mean, but that's my style bike,
Yeah.
The factory bikes, the other ones were 5 speeds. And mine was a 4-speed, and I had different power bands and stuff than the factory bikes. So anyway, that's another story for down the road there.
Yeah. Well, how did you like your bike to work?
I like just grunt horsepower, just like that.
So you want to kind of torque and short shift it or run a real tall gear?
No revving.
Yeah.
And the other one, the 5-speed factory Suzukis that Vromans and Bruno had, they're revvers, and that's the way Roger liked it, and that's what those guys were used to building, So they kind of made them a little bit more smaller pistons and little revvers, And, when Vromans and me dueled out the whole year, he could go just as fast as I could go, but different way,
Yeah, just different styles and stuff. Interesting. All right, so 81, you're kind of working through that thing, 6th overall, probably a little disappointing after coming off a 2nd.
Yeah, I broke my foot early in the season in Belgium and had some problems with my foot and then the bike, and, just wasn't a good year. That's the first year that I went backwards,
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't happy.
What did happen? I as I'm going through all this, it seemed like you stayed pretty healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I had
other than the stinger and then this foot.
Yeah.
But it sounds like that was it.
Yeah, I had a broken foot in the early season and dislocated toes and stuff. So that went into the GP season. I had a steel plate on the front of my boot at the second GP already, so it was still there, still some problems going into that season. And I broke a scapula one time and fingers and stuff, but nothing big.
Yeah.
My plan was to be in better shape than everybody so that at the start, I never had to take any chances. I would line up in the safest place, regardless if it got me to the first turn first, because it didn't matter, because I had 40 minutes to pick them off.
That's an eternity.
Yeah, and it's so much safer, because the guy like Noyce, he's not in good enough shape. He has to pick the danger spot to get the whole shot, but everybody's coming across right where you got to go, and there's probably going to be a crash, and he knows it, but that's his shot. That's how he has to do it,
Did he smoke back then too? A lot of the guys smoke?
No, not really.
You see pictures of some of those guys.
I mean, a lot of mechanics and stuff, but Joel, he would puff on him and drink a beer on the line just for dramatic purposes.
Yeah.
And Roger never did, and Graham, when he'd get drunk, he'd probably have a cigarette in a bar or something.
Yeah. Okay. That's funny. Just funny the different times,
Yeah.
All right. So the foot wasn't, it healed. It wasn't anything
Yeah.
major. No surgery or anything on it? Just cast it or whatever. Okay. So end of that season, by the end of 81, how was the bike?
Bikes,
and is there a big change for the next year, or was it pretty much the same thing?
Well, that's when that contract stuff came up, and they wanted to fire me or park me and hire Romans, and so the bike was okay. I mean, it was nowhere near the bike that we started 82 on anyway. So what we did, instead of going to Belgium in January like I always did and ride all those shitty races in the snow and the ice and do all that stuff there, we stayed in California. I rode the Golden State Series and won that, and did all the R&D here because we were working with Simons and all that stuff. So we built the bike here.
Now, is this in conjunction with your team in Europe, or are you kind of doing this on your own out here?
No, I got my own team.
Okay. Yeah. Is American Suzuki involved at that point, or no?
No.
It's just you kind of doing your thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a factory mechanic from Sweden, Stig Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Stiggy's my factory mechanic, getting paid by the factory.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and
he had PPS, Peterson Pro Suspension, when I first started over here, and he's one of, I don't forget who I was telling this earlier, but when you talk about suspension guys, probably Bones, Ross Maeda, Stig, and maybe Paul Theed. I mean, those are the 4 major suspension guys, of that time. So.
Yeah, so we had Stiggy as that part of the team. I had a trainer, Dino, that I've been working with since '78. And I had an American mechanic that was doing the motors, porting, and stuff like that.
Okay.
And Stiggy would work suspension. Steve would do the motor. Dino would train me. Lori would feed me. And
that's your crew.
That's my crew, yeah. And it worked out good, because we stayed home and didn't get beat up in Europe like you do, And when we got to the first race, we were fresh. The bike was perfect. We knew it worked great. It, won every race, and not won every race, but won the series and never had any problems with any motos. And so the bike was pretty set by the time we rolled onto the European shores.
So did you ship that bike over, or you just grabbed the parts and
No, we shipped it
over? And what did they say? Because I know there was issues with the forks. They didn't want you running them.
Yeah, no, they didn't see anything because we just showed up at the first GP, where normally we'd been there, months in advance, and they would seen all that, but they didn't. So the factory guys, they're going, oh, what is that? And Simons is there working on them and doing stuff, and they're going, oh, no, you have to take them off. And Steve's going, it's not my call, Brad decides, No, I think we're going to keep them.
That's what you're saying?
I go, check lap times. This is after practice. Oh, you fastest? I go, yeah, forks.
Yeah.
No, you must change. I said, no, we're fastest. You want to win or you want to lose? Oh, we lose. I said, well, not me. I said, I'm going to do it like this because it works and we know it's good. Just because you don't know about them doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do.
Were they worried that it would break, or they just
they didn't have anything to do with designing them or building them, so they don't know what it is, and that makes sense. But they should know that I did all the testing in RD in the States and Golden State Series and all that. That's public record, Suzuki America's telling them that. They're doing big ads in Cycle News. Suzuki wins. So that was a little issue, but there was also I had a homemade boost bottle on it too that was hiding under the tank. And, they immediately said, Yamaha. And I went, no, it's not a Yamaha. There's no Yamaha parts there. It's just their engineering, but I made it, out of aluminum myself or somebody did. And so, I had this good bottom end and I had these nice forks that can climb right out all the muddy ruts and stuff. And the bike was working good. So, I had to stay with that because that's what I was going to ride,
And it worked. So take us through that season. Was there?
We had from the second race, I had the lead in the championship, and we had some shock issues along the way because, again, a lot of those engineers, they can't stand if you tell them something's not right, So we had a couple issues in Finland and the rough tracks that we needed to fix, and because I knew if we didn't get it fixed, it was just going to haunt me the rest of the season.
What was it doing?
It's just fading, going away, and then the bike doesn't handle.
Stick.
Yeah. So, but according to the shock guys, no, it's impossible. I go, yeah, well, it's not impossible because that's what it's doing.
It's very possible.
Yeah, but on the dyno, I go, well, I don't care about the dyno. This ain't dyno land out here. This is Finland.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got that straightened out. I'll tell you that story privately. So we got the shock dialed in, and then we continued to lead all the way to Carlsbad, and we were in the lead when we came here. And that's when Malib fell off and broke his leg at Carlsbad. He hit the mud hole all by himself and crashed.
I'm sure you were very sad.
Yeah, I wasn't very sad. But, like I said, I've been leading the series.
Yeah.
I was leading when we got here, and I continued to plan on leading. I wasn't gonna,
How did it go here at Carlsbad? I know you hate that place.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I have to remember 82. I don't even remember. Oh, I think I got 2/3. I got two podiums.
It's all right.
It was okay.
With that.
Yeah, but
place you hate.
Yeah.
Who won?
Magoo.
Ah. Were you buddies with Magoo? I mean, you got the same neck of the woods.
Yeah. We were buddies.
You got any good Magoo stories?
Yeah, I got a couple. Let me keep this train of thought.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
So anyway, that was okay, and I was leading. I had a great lead,
Was Malherbe was second in the championship up to that point?
Yeah, and Vromans was third.
Okay.
And now Vromans, him and I about tied at Carlsbad. I think he got a second and a fourth or something. I got 2/3 or something like that. Anyway, So then we went to Canada, and I won the first moto. I'm leading the second moto with 2 laps to go, and my shock breaks. So if that didn't happen, my points lead would have been like 30 points. I could have went to Europe to the last 3 races and rode around in the beer tent, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But now I lose 18 points in that one move because I lost the 15 that I would have got, and he went up from second that he would have been to first. That's another 3 points. So 18 points out of my 25. So now we're in Europe, and we go to Namur. So it's the dangerous situation. I'm going, all right, I'm just going to be calm and get out of here alive, because if I make it to Luxembourg, I can beat him there. I know that.
Yeah,
but here, I don't know what's going to happen. So when we got to Luxembourg, it was 4 or 6 points between us, because he made up about 6 or 8 or something like Namur, because I got a second and a fourth or something, and he got a first and a third or something like that. Anyway, so going into the last race, it was, down to the wire, points,
And are you two getting along? Like, how is your relationship?
Yeah,
It's
no,
fine.
he rides good. He doesn't do any stupid stuff, and we're fine. Even though his pits are over there, mine are over there.
Yeah, you weren't. It wasn't really a team.
No,
you're riding yellow bikes. Together, but that's about it.
Yeah, he's coming to the party too.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Do you guys? Are you good now? Still, you get along?
Yeah. When I see him, I don't see him that often, but yeah. Anyway, so that's and then you know that story, don't you?
What's that?
The last moto story.
Well, I have heard it, but please, I want to hear it again. I mean, give me out of your mouth.
Okay. Well, the trainer Dino, he'd been taking lap times of every rider, top 5 guys at every GP, every moto for the whole season. So we had a chart.
Okay.
Here it is. Here's Romans. Here's Malherbe. Here's Carlquist. Here's Noyes. Here's me. Blah blah blah. Color coded. Everybody's got their little thing, and lap times go from da 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 da. So anyway, if you look at the chart, you can tell how much a guy slows down at the 10-minute to go mark.
Create an average.
Yeah. So you go, okay, well, we know that Carlquist is going to drop off the pace 3 seconds a lap on the last 5 laps, and Malherbe would do this and he would do that. And we also knew that I could gain time, so.
You were getting faster at the end, or could?
Yeah.
Okay.
The track, when the track gets built, man, then you can go. So we knew that I could make up X amount of time. That was the fact of the thing. So now we go, okay, how are we going to get out of Luxembourg alive without getting screwed?
Yeah, because you've already said this is their local boy.
Right.
The promoters, the fans, everyone's going to do whatever they can do to help him, which
That's
is
right.
That is not a good feeling.
No.
So just give me a fair fight.
Yeah. So our plan came up to be, let him go, stay in the back, stay out of trouble, don't look like you're catching or pressuring him, so they leave you alone. They're going to leave you alone if he's winning. Only time if you get in front of them, then they're probably not going to leave you alone. So we had a plan, and we went for 25 seconds was our gap to make up.
That just seems like way too much.
I know it
like
does.
Why 10 seconds would seem like an eternity. Why
yeah,
not?
But that's like a supercross track. This is a real track, 2.5 minutes long.
I don't know.
You can make up time.
That's a long way.
Yeah. Anyway, so I told Dino, I said, all right, at 5 laps to go, give me the sign to put it in gear. So 5 laps to go, I was 25 seconds down with him in the lead, and me in, I don't know what place I was in, but it didn't matter. So anyway, gassed it up. Last lap, caught him halfway around.
Is this second moto?
First moto.
First moto, okay.
Yeah, this is to set the tone for the day, basically. So anyway, caught him with half a lap to go, passed him, and his pit guys are in the front area. He's got some other people around the track probably, but they're not seeing what's going on like the real guys would know it, so they're not giving them signs, hey, by the way, Lackey's coming,
Yeah.
So he doesn't know about it. So I get by him, and I get second in the moto. What's his name? Carlquist won the heat. So it didn't matter. I was just going off points with him, so it didn't matter about that. So anyway, I get second, he gets third, and he's just completely shot because he couldn't see it coming, and he didn't know it was possible.
And what are the points then at this point, after that moto?
Points, I'm probably 8 points or 6 points in the lead.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Not enough for comfort at all.
No.
Okay.
You got, if he beat me by 2 places, got a first and I got a third or fourth, that might be been enough.
I just can't believe you could sit back and let someone get 25 seconds out in front of you.
It was tough to do, let me tell you. And I mean, the waiting part.
Oh, I would be just.
And then
I don't know if I could do it.
And then I come in, and Dino and everybody's they can't believe it. And they're going, oh, my God, that was awesome. I go, okay, Dino, what's the plan for the second moto? He goes, there's no plan. I didn't think that would ever happen. So I go, now they're out to kill me and we got no plan? He goes, I don't know what to tell you now, So anyway, but it was such a ride that the 60,000 people turned to my side.
Is that right?
Yeah. They went, you deserve it. Go for it. Left me alone. Didn't do nothing.
So how'd that last moto go?
Last moto.
And where were your nerves? I mean,
I was just thinking, man, if this thing breaks now, I could pick it up and carry it across if I was close enough. But, I'm worried about the bike, but that's about it. I mean, the track, the people were good. The track was still bitching, and my bike hadn't had any problems but that one moto and 24 motos, so I was pretty confident with that. And I think I just got third. To clinch it. I didn't take any chances.
Was Vromans in front of you?
No, Vromans, he took the start. And at Luxembourg, there's the first lap, there's this big-ass gnarly hill. Okay. And the first lap, you don't go up it because it's too many guys together.
Okay.
So the first lap, you come
around it.
Yeah, you come to the bottom of it where you go up it and you turn left and go around it the first lap. Anyway, so he kind of forgot that and kind of was going to go up it, and he, it just had a piece of yellow tape. So he slid it down and stepped off for a second because he was going the wrong way, and he got back on, and he was right into 6th place or something from the first lap. So he did everything he could, and he couldn't catch me on 3rd, so that was it.
So you come across the line and get that checkered flag. What's that like?
Oh, boy. The people came out of the stands and everything, and the straightaway is 60 miles an hour, right? It's a big sweeper. And then, anyway, so I'm coming over, and the guy's waving the flag, and I'm kind of doing a wheelie, a peace sign wheelie, And then I throw it down because there's all these people. And then the other guy's coming, They didn't know the people are all standing on the track. Boy, it was almost a mayhem.
Oh, geez.
Because they're kept flying around there, the guy in 4th and 5th dueling it. And then all of a sudden there's 300 people standing in the way. So that was okay. Nobody got hurt. And got some champipple and had a big party. Stayed up all night, got on a plane, went home.
I mean, did you realize at the time what you had just done? Did you get the gravity of it?
No, how our plan worked and how the day went and how the bike worked and how everything worked out like we planned. I'm so used to that not happening. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's all I thought about.
9 years of that not working out.
Yeah, that's all I thought about. How did this finally work out? I wasn't thinking any more than that.
Well, your trainer with it didn't, after that first moto, he's like, I don't have a plan. I'd have smacked him like Will Smith smacking Chris Rock, come on, man.
I wasn't ready for that. I thought he would have had it all worked out.
Well, I mean, so first American to ever win a world title, right? Danny's was just after yours?
Yeah, 2 weeks later, the 250, he clinched that.
And the only American 500 world champion, which will never change. That's a title you've got forever.
Yeah, I thought Villapota was going to give me a run. I was building him a trophy and everything.
Well, sometimes you loop out. Shit happens. I don't know. To me, that is such a huge moment. And just such you're the first American champion, man. Like there's just such weight to that to me. And that's why I'm curious if that really set in or not.
Not till later, not even like the next years or two, because I retired. I rode Carlsbad one race in 83. That was it. And then, it takes time for, like when I got my bike back and I started riding Arma a little bit, riding some vintage races, then you think about it. Then you're going, all right, all this stuff that happened for a reason, and this is what I have right now, and I got this great collection of some of my old bikes, and you get nostalgic and you lay around, then you think about it.
Yeah.
Not right when it happens.
I mean, I just think of the shit you had to endure from drinking beer and eating pickles and breakfast to 82. I mean, how much determination and fortitude did you have to stick that shit out for that long?
Well, I had my one sponsor that was the Concord CZ guy, Dick Leitner. He just passed away in the last few months ago. And he was one of the best guys. And when I went to Checo the first time, he gives me like a checkbook. It's leather, and it's got a Harley Davidson #1 on it because he's a Harley guy too. And he had 100 $1 bills glued together in there. And he goes, all right, here, man, take this with you. You're going to need that. I go, what's that for? He goes, you'll figure it out. Because he's real smart, and he doesn't tell you stuff. He makes you figure it out. Okay. So anyway, I get over there, and I'm kind of get something and check, and I'm getting nowhere, and I go, oh, yeah, we got it right there. Well, I had that little baby going all the time. Anytime I needed something, you just give somebody $1, and they'd go get what you needed.
Jeez.
Yeah. So he was a big influence, and I told him, I said, all right, we're going to go win the World Championship. I told him this when I was a kid, in the 71 time, 70 probably. And I said, and we're going to throw the biggest party ever because he's a big party guy.
Yeah.
And so then after I won, I forgot all about the party part. I made a promise to him that I'd win and have the party. And then I finally remembered, oh, that's right, I got to have a party. So we rented the Concord Pavilion. It's a big music place up there. Invited Danny and Penhall and all the guys and played We Are the Champions. And, it was great. I still have the sponsor, Pernod. They were Wild Turkey and Pernod, so I had all the booze for free, and it was fun.
Big night?
Oh, yeah. A couple bands, and it was fun.
And, your wife for hanging in there all those years and supporting you through that, it's just a lot of, validation for all of that commitment and sacrifice and work, huh? It's just such a cool story.
Yeah, it's a good story. It all worked out good.
Yeah. Okay, so you party all night, get on a plane and come home. Tell me about the offer you had, because you said you're not going to race next year unless they pay you $1 million.
Right. Where did you hear all these
Suzuki
stories?
goes tits up. I just do some research, man, and dig in. Suzuki's out. They're not racing.
Right.
So tell us what happens.
I didn't know for sure if I wanted to, without having a good ride. That determines what's going to happen, So if you already know you're going in with no shot, why do it?
Yeah.
For the money, that would be the only reason. So because of all that economic stuff and nobody having any money and nobody doing any rides, I said, well, my shot here is a European bike, Italian, KTM, Mako. That's what was available, and KTM wasn't like it is now.
And they weren't competitive. None of those were really competitive.
No, you couldn't go win the World Championship on that, on any of them, I don't think, at that time. And so I said, all right, I'm not even going to do it unless I get $1 million. And Lori goes, you're dreaming. I go, yeah. Because what? Because that's 4 times more than I got this last year? She goes, yeah. I said, okay, well, see what happens. So anyway, the Cagiva guys call me at some point, and I said, hey, I got an offer today. Yeah? From who? From Cagiva. Well, how much do they want to pay you? I go, $750,000. Lori goes, that's not $1 million. I said, you're right. That was it.
Left it on the
table. Gave up $750 on the table, plus all the other shit you'd get. That's $1 million. I would have got, helmet contracts and this and that.
You're a stronger man than me. I'd have been back there racing a Cagiva, making $1 million and whatever.
What's $1 million in 82?
Well, that's a shit ton of money in 82. I mean, that's good like money. A life changer.
Oh yeah, I was the highest paid guy at $250. So.
Huh. So any regrets about not taking that, or you're happy with it? Yeah.
No, man, I'm walking and talking. I just got introduced to cortisone. My foot works for the first time in 30 years.
Is it the foot you broke?
Yeah. No. Actually, that one isn't.
It's the other one.
No, that one's wiped out too. This one's just been broke many a times, the ankle, and it's just been a pain. I got to the point where I can't even go walk anymore. If I go somewhere with everybody, I'm going, all right, hold on, I gotta go sit down. So anyway, I finally got to this doctor, and he goes, have you ever had cortisone? I go, no, nobody's even offered it to me. I'm looking at surgery here. No, just try this first. Before I got home, it was perfect.
Is that right?
I'm going, I haven't felt this in 30 years. And it's been in there for 4 months or 6 months right now, and it's still good.
Did he say anything about how many times you can do that?
I asked him that because I've been hearing that story like we all hear it. He goes, you can get it every 6 weeks if you want to.
Really? I've heard after like 3 shots, it starts to soften soft tissue in there.
Well, what it does is it eats up your joints if you get too much of it. But see, the new stuff isn't a steroid like the old stuff, so they got some new shit.
Yeah, my weak link is my knees. You'll see me when I get up out of here and hobble away. But all right, I love that story, man. It's just so good. And how Romans was cool with you afterwards, like you guys.
Yeah, because I passed him fair and square and clean and right way. And the second race we didn't even get close. So
Did you go pour some champagne over your head in front of Mal Herb's tent?
He was just broken from that first moto. I felt sad for him, really.
Yeah. All right, so you come home, you get the offer, you turn it down. What's next? I mean, what
next
did you guys do?
Okay, let's ride Carlsbad with the #1 plate so somebody can see it, get a picture of it, Yeah. In case they don't believe the stories.
So that would have been sometime into the next season, right? So are you still riding and training and?
Yeah, I was still riding.
Okay.
I mean, I forget what bikes I got. I just got some bikes from a dealer or something. But then we kind of got serious about Carlsbad and.
Didn't you try an ATK or something?
Yeah,
right?
I was testing horses ATK for him, and I had a I don't know what the Yamaha called it. It's like their Team Green, not Team Green. They're not support, but race guys from Yamaha. They had some not factory stuff, but some good cylinders and some good stuff. So they gave me one of those bikes to ride and try because I was thinking about riding that. And so with the horse's bike and that bike, I had identical lap times. I could go just as fast on the 4-stroke. But
seems like the way what you like, you'd like that 4-stroke.
Yeah, I did.
Lug it.
That's why I wanted to do it, and I was gonna do it, but
especially at Carlsbad.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. And after testing there a bunch, and then his geometry with the motor in the frame was just off enough that if it was muddy and like Carlsbad always is, and you jump over those jumps, frame would hit and pitch you over the handlebars all the time. So
dirt just grabs you. It's
so I said, "Horse, you got to get this up. You got to make some changes because it's too low. It's gonna do that all the time and scrub off a second every time it happens. Almost go with bars every time it happens. I can't ride it like that. You got to fix that, and I'll ride it. I can't afford to do it. So,
I mean, what did you need? Like
I don't know how much, but some.
You were hitting a lot.
Yeah, he would have had to, major change frames.
That's sketchy too, because if you were at an angle and that side of the frame catches, then it's a big high side, right?
Yeah. So that was the only problem. That's the only reason I didn't ride it. So then the Yamaha, I've been practicing on that, and so I said, all right, let's do a deal. So I got him to pay me some money, and I rode the Yamaha, and I think I got 5th.
Was it a 490?
Yeah,
okay.
490.
And was that bike?
It was a stalker, basically. Yeah. I was racing Carl Quist on his factory bike and almost beat him. He got one place behind me, so I beat him one moto and he beat me the other one or something. But, I mean, I've been off a year or so.
Sure. Well, what'd you end up overall?
I got 4th or 5th.
4th, okay.
Yeah.
But got some photos with the #1 plate.
Yeah, that's why I was doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. That's a nice, sign off.
Yeah.
I like that.
Didn't get hurt. Came back, did the one USGP,
So how many times in your whole career did you do the Motocross the Nations? I guess I missed, throughout, you did those couple of years, but did you do it further years?
72, 74 or 5, we did the Trophy the Nations. I have a bronze medal at home from that. We got 3rd. And then I have a 2nd one from Husqvarna. And we got nothing for the first one at 7th place. Yeah, so I have 4 of those little medals. 2 are for Motocross the Nations and 2 are for 2nd in the World Championship. So I would say 3 or 4 times. I might have rode the 250 twice another time too. I'm not really sure.
Okay. I mean, you'd be an easy pick, right? I mean, you're the one American that knows the tracks.
Well, you would think so, but AMA.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You got any good memories from any of those events? That had to be fun, being over there kind of as the lone American, and then you get some of your guys to come over and kind of get to show them around a little bit.
Yeah, that was fun to get Pomeroy over there. He's crazy. And, Yeah, we had fun in Sweden, because everybody got along, we're all buddies. Nobody's fighting over anything. Nobody cared about nothing. Nobody's getting paid a lot of money, so it was easy. And in the 250 stuff, I was a little, out of whack because I'm riding a 250 Husky, and they're not rocket ships at that time. And so we didn't do as good there, but yeah, we just had a great time.
Can't lug those around the way you
No,
can.
no luggies. You got to wear out the clutch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we all have fun. I mean, there was no problems at any of those motocross or trophies of the nations.
Okay.
There was no team stuff against, teams, countries against countries.
Wasn't like that. Huh?
No,
Okay.
just when they, did that to Falta, but that was out of GPs.
Yeah. Everything, when I look at old photos of you, you always seemed like you had a cool style. You're wearing like glasses that seemed like shit you'd wear today, kind of very like all white frames and big cowboy hat. And was that just, I don't know, where'd you get that style from? Was that just your jam?
Well, I learned early on that you have to make it in the magazines. You have to make it on cycle news covers. If you want to get the big bucks and get the good rides and all that, you got to get ink. And, you didn't have a press guy or any of that stuff then. Mm-hmm. So, if you could go to a race and not win the race, but get a picture in the magazine, and the guy that won doesn't even have a picture,
it's just as good as winning.
You're
not
doing
as good as
it.
money, but it's good. Yeah,
that's right.
All right. So there was purpose to it.
Oh, yeah. The dove and all the stuff. It all had a few meanings, but, it was to get some ink. And, you got to win races too. Yeah. But, it doesn't mind if you look kind of cool doing it.
Yeah. Like I said, that was my takeaway was like, man, Bad Brad, he looked cool. He just looked like, I don't know. I was stoked.
I thought Heike was cool.
Yeah, well, Heike's just terrifying looking. He was cool looking, but just because he was.
Yeah, and Roger, he was stylish. He was the styling guy. He looked like the, European model racer, and Heike looked like the farmer from Hell Racer. And, yeah.
Roger always reminded me of like he could be a James Bond.
Yeah, exactly.
Actor or something. Tell me of all the bikes you raced in your career, best and worst.
Well, from a certain point, I got to start building them for myself, as you can, from the stories. And of course, those are the best.
Yeah.
Because I got to make them how I wanted them. Yeah. And the ones that I didn't get to touch are obviously the worst ones because some of them were good. Like, for example, I had this is the best 250 anyway, by far, a 78 CR 250 Red Rocket.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. When I was riding for Honda, they wouldn't give me factory bikes to go to the international races. So all the international races, we ride 40 races a year, so there's a lot of races in between GPs, and over there there's holidays. You race Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday sometimes. So anyway, they gave me a stock bike. I put a pair of Fox shocks on it, and I chained it to the back of my motorhome, and I drug that thing around with me to all the international races. And every time I got to a 250 international race, I had Heike and Roger on their factory bikes, and I could spank them every weekend.
Is that right?
On that
Was
stalker.
That good?
Just beat up and never even cleaned it. It's just all rusted. But that thing was perfect. Motor was fast. It worked. It handled perfect, and that was the best 250.
That's crazy. What about the worst?
Worst 250. That Kawasaki that they tried to make you ride the Coliseum.
Oh.
Yeah. And 500 worst. Yeah, I think, probably, that's hard to say because a lot of reasons.
There was a lot of bad bikes there.
Yeah. Well, the Kawasaki in 79 was an okay bike, but it broke down every week. So is it the worst? Versus the Suzuki when I got it and it was way behind, 5 years behind. Is that worse than breaking down?
Bad for different reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, let's call it a tie.
Yeah.
Tell me, you said you had some Magoo stories. I'd love to hear your favorite Magoo story.
Magoo, man, he was the wildest redhead going. He made those other two redheads look tame.
Yeah.
Ricky and Filippo. And anyway, so first time I saw Magoo, I think his dad brought these blocks of wood to the starting line because he couldn't touch the ground, and he's on a 250 CZ puts those down there, and he's sitting up on those. I'm going, what's this kid doing in this race with us? And he takes off, and he's hauling ass, and he's just as fast as everybody else until he endos and flips and crashes, you know. And he had that crash thing down for years, you know, until 82. And then he just got on fire 81, into 81, 82, and he was really good, fast, and didn't crash anymore. And that was, you know, his best years there before he got hurt. And I only went up to his house like one time in the mountains where cow trails and rides, and he'd have all these crazy uphill things out of creeks where nobody could do it, you know, but him. You know, he was a full-blown, not a track guy, you know. He was a woods guy, and out in the normal, natural stuff. That's how you get to be good, because you're going over stuff that you never know, you know. So I only went riding with him one time up there, and, you know, we just had fun and nothing serious there. But right in the end, when he was, we did a big challenge for everybody to kick in some money so we could buy him a van, because he was living in some shithole van that didn't even have a, you know, wheelchair access or nothing. So we put together a big plan and got a bunch of donations and got enough money to buy him a brand new Sprinter, which we went and bought, and it was just getting painted when he died. So he missed out on all the people that cared about him, that helped for that, you know, really didn't spend much help on him the 25 years before that. And I think that's what happened. He saw, okay, everybody now knows that I deserve this, and they're all happy, and they're all kicking in money. I've got this brand new van, and then he just kind of probably slipped away, you know. So
that's sad.
Oh, sad stories when anybody gets hurt, you know that.
Yeah, you know, there's actually a Road to Recovery is working on a thing called Mental Health Matters, and it's a project that I think is long overdue in our sport.
Yeah, for the guys that get hurt, so they can have somebody to talk to. And
just anyone that's dealing with you know, it doesn't have to be that, but he
Yeah.
certainly would have been somebody that could have used some help, you know.
Right.
Sometimes you just need to talk to somebody, you know, and the shit you're feeling, just talk to somebody about it.
Get it out so it's not all in there.
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's a handful of guys that it just breaks my heart. I didn't have him on this show. The show didn't exist back then, but he's one of them. And I always try to ask guys that knew him, hey, tell me a story, you know, because he just seemed like a character.
Oh, he was. Yeah, he was good.
I mean, like, I picture him and he's a cartoon character.
Yeah.
Just sideways and, you know.
Mr. Magoo.
Yeah. That's great. How about Joel Robert and George Jobet? You know, you're again a rare person who spent time with both of these guys.
Yeah, both my buddies. At that training camp in Czech, the 71, not 71, 1970. We were staying at a hotel about 100 kilometers from Prague, where there was some track, and we would train in the day, and then we'd come back to the hotel and eat and go to sleep. And Joe Bay's brother was in that training camp because he was a CZ guy from Belgium.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know he had a brother.
But he's older.
Okay.
And he had a car, and he had a Mercedes car in Checo. So he would come pound on my door and go, come on, let's go to Prague, just go. So in the middle of the night, we'd bail out in the Mercedes and go to Prague and go to the discos. And, you know, he's smoking the Kluas, and he's got the clothes, and he's got the car. And that, you know, there's no Mercedes in Checo. You know, every chick in the world thinks he's the, you know, God. So he's having a fun time. And we'd sneak back in just in time for the morning call and then have to go do it again. And so Claude Jobet was kind of my partner at that thing. And so when we got back to Belgium sometime after that, you know, he took me to his house where they practice, and we'd go practice on this track. They had their own track, and then they got this little brother about this big on a little mini bike, and he's tearing it up. And I'm going, who's that? He goes, it's my brother. You know, that's my little brother. He's going to be good someday. I go, yeah, you think so? Yeah. So anyway, so then from that time on, I always knew Jobet, and we would. We rode a lot of those 250 international races together, and he was the good 250 guy. So he was the guy I was trying to beat because he was always on the 250, and I never rode it.
George?
Yeah. George. So we would race in those things quite a bit, and we had some fun, and we'd always go have drinks and dinners. And when he got sick, when he got hurt in Paris Dakar, wherever it was, where's the other place? Where all the giant towers are over there. I forget.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, he got hurt, and they flew him back to Belgium, and they gave him some wonder shot from the KTM guys.
Wings of Life?
Yeah.
Group?
Yeah.
Okay.
They had the stuff that if you get it when you're paralyzed right away, it fixes it where they can go in there and cut on you and work on it instead of not being able to do that. So they gave him that, and the story we heard in the States was he got paralyzed in it's not Dakar, but it's over there, some sand race. And so we went to Belgium to go see him, and we go to his house, and the sister or somebody comes out. Where's George? He's out walking around somewhere. I'm going, what? Yeah, he's doing some exercise or something. Anyway, so we come around the corner, and here he comes walking up the driveway, and he's got a little limp, and that's about it.
Just a little limp, and he's totally fine.
Yeah. And then he told me the whole story and how it worked, and I was going, God, we got to get this stuff for everybody, This is what you need. I mean, it's fixable now sometimes,
Wow.
And so then he got over that, and then he got leukemia and died.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
Yeah. And then, Falta, I think that was just a heart attack or something.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're all,
Boy,
get to that age.
They're dropping like flies.
Yeah, sad. Yeah, and Joel Robert is another one. I wish I could have had him on. I've heard stories from anyone that raced with him or grew up with him.
I chased Joe around Yugoslavia in '71 with a lizard. He hates lizards or snakes or anything, right? So somebody told me that. And they're running all over the track there,
Okay.
So I grabbed this big old iguana, and I go into his tent. And I go, Joel, check him out. Ah! He runs out, rips open the tent, runs out, and he starts running through the pits. I'm chasing him, and it's 105 out, and he runs into town, and I'm still chasing him. I'm going, how far is he going to go? What's he going to do? We can't do this. It's 100. I'm getting tired. Anyway, so finally he circles around. We come back. They had to stop the whole race. They postponed it because he was gone, and he's the main attraction, right?
No way.
So anyway, he gets in there. He's all sweaty. Throws on his helmet. Smokes everybody. The lizard sequence. That was a good one.
There should be pictures of that.
I know. You would think somebody would have got a picture.
So what have you been doing since, let's say, past the Carlsbad GP there in '83? What have you been doing?
Let's see. '83. I had quite a few. I had some real estate that got with that 1982 stuff when everything took a crap. I had like 25 properties in Walnut Creek in Northern California, and then I lost them all because they were all, mortgaged, and then the rent went up so high, the mortgage went up that nobody could pay it, and so bank takes them all. So I lost all my money basically from all the years of riding on real estate.
Dang it.
Which I wish would have been grills and booze and drugs or something. It would have been a better story. But yeah, so anyway, I lost all the good stuff. And then I kind of had to figure out how to make a living because I never picked up a hammer. I didn't know how to do any of that kind of stuff. So my dad was in the car business. Mr. Leitner, my sponsor, was in the car business. So I got in the car business. I was wholesaling cars at auctions and stuff quite a bit. That's how I had a lot at one point, and did that for a while until that kind of got too greasy for me. And let's see, then I don't know, sometime after that, I went with I have a Harley, and I had one then too, and I went to a Harley rally or something, and then I heard that the Harley rally was coming to Hollister, the 50-year anniversary from the Wild Ones or whatever that happened down there in 46 or whatever it was. Anyway, so and I've been kind of in the t-shirt business a little bit, making stuff throughout the years. So I go, all right, let's make some t-shirts and sell them at the Harley rally. Sure, okay. So I make a bunch of t-shirts and shit, they buy them all, and I got to make more and send them down, make some more, send them down. And then I go to the city and I go, hey, I want the contract for next 5 years for being the only T-shirt guy here, the official T-shirt. So I get the contract with them. I did the T-shirts for Hollister Rally for 7 years. And then I got a contract to do the Las Vegas Bike Fest Rally for 10 years. And I've been selling T-shirts at the rallies for, that's 17 years there anyway.
Jeez.
And
good. I mean, like you're cleaning up just for that week or whatever they are, huh?
Yeah, it's not like it was then now. I mean, it was really good then. Now it's not as good. But I still have, then I sold my T-shirt business. I had a warehouse where I printed them and did all that. And I kept my good clients, so I still have 3 or 4 bars, restaurants up in Tahoe and Nevada and stuff that I supply shirts for their business. And I still do vintage motocross, local races. My Richmond Rambler Club in my area, they have scrambles and hair scrambles. So I'm doing Boise, Idaho, and the CZ World Championship. So all the little races, I take care of the guys and do the shirts for them for those. So.
Diamond Dons, you go to that, right?
Yeah, Diamond Dons is going to be the 20th annual this year coming up. So
I got to try to get to that.
Oh, you got to go to this one. The 20th annual will be the big one.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe I should look into that.
Yeah.
I did the Boise one with Damon Bradshaw maybe 5 years ago, and we just had a ball.
Yeah.
RV's coming up this year for that one.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's riding on the Yamaha. Huh?
Yeah. He made a guy named Dallas Nyblad built him a really pretty Yamaha.
Yeah. So I'll be up there selling the shirts with the Golden Boy.
With Brock? All right. Oh, that'll be fun. Do you have kids?
Yeah, I have 3 kids. Let's see. 39, 42, 40, 48, 45, I guess.
Okay.
And
those aren't kids anymore. Those are adults.
Oh yeah, they're way adults. And
are they all in your area? So you?
Yeah. 5 grandchildren, and my son, he races the bagger class on the Harleys and does stunt shows with Unknown, and just crashed actually at Anaheim 3 and broke his shoulder.
Oh, geez.
So anyway, he's out for a while. He's got to get some surgery. And he lives just 25 minutes away. My one daughter lives next door to me.
Okay.
And my other daughter lives 20 minutes away. So they're close.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm always worried about my kids growing up and moving away.
Yeah, you can't let them move away.
Yeah.
Then you got to travel all the time.
I know.
You don't want to do that.
That's awesome. How about being a grandparent? Is that cool?
Oh, yeah. Logan just had a little baby boy. He's only a year and a half, and I got 3 boys and 2 girls, and none of them care about bikes or any of that stuff except for him, the little baby one. He's just madman about little scooters and stuff, so he's going to be the guy.
You got to get him a Stasic.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
I think he's got one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the way, man. I mean, as soon as they can walk, they can ride those things.
Right. Yeah, he's going to be all over it.
That's awesome. So you're going to be back at the track here before long.
Yeah, maybe.
I love it.
I don't know. Can I make it that long? Let's
Hell
see.
Yeah, you can.
10, he'll be 12. I mean, 79. Yeah, maybe.
You got it. Do you still ride it all yourself?
A little bit on the street. I went riding New Year's Day with my son Logan and the little guy on some mini bikes up at his buddy's house. So we do it a little bit, but I don't do anything that I can fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hurts more and more, doesn't it? Yeah. All right. Well, we have kind of a question we ask all of our guests at the end, and that's, how do you want to be remembered in this sport?
Okay, let's see. That's a good one. Never thought about that. Somebody that had his own dream, did everything he could to make it happen, and learned that at a young age is when you have to do these things. You cannot wait till you're 25 or some age like that to try to do life-changing things that you have to be very young to do. And, you have to get your dream early and go chase it. And if you do that, you'll probably make it happen.
Yeah. I just, from my perspective, man, I don't, like I said, it sounds like it took you a while to really gain perspective on what you accomplished, but going through your career and seeing the crazy shit that went on early and the setbacks and the conditions you were in, and then just, years and years of trying, and then getting it done and going, peace out. Like, it's just cool as shit, man. Like, it's just an absolute honor to sit here and chat with you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So thanks so much for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Great show. I'm going to have to watch one. I've never seen one yet.
Well, there's a lot of, Gary Jones, and we had, Marty Smith on, guys that...
I looked at, Lori read me the list coming down. I asked, who's been on it? So she went through it with me when I was driving.
There's Roger. Roger was our opening show, and just everybody that I have on, I've learned things, even if I know them pretty well, I've learned things that I never knew. And everybody's got a fascinating story.
Yeah.
So it's just cool to have you tell it in your own voice.
If you have motocross or motorcycle people, they're good people, and they do good things, and they have fun.
Amen. All right, buddy. Well, thank you so much. It's been an honor. Stay tuned. We'll be back to wrap up the show.
I wanna be bad with you, girl, like we're robbing a bank. I wanna be mad at the world, like it took you away. Don't wanna be mad at myself.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I really want to thank Brad Lackey for taking the time to come down. This is, to me, when you look at the sport of motocross from an American perspective, Brad Lackey is the front bookend of this whole thing. He was the American that dared go over there and chase that dream of becoming a world champion. And for him to win here, become one of the first U.S. national champions, then go to Europe and for 10 years grind it out and finally get that goal, just so impressive to me on so many levels. And he's just such a cool guy. Really, really an honor for me to sit here and go through his career with him. So thank you so much, Brad, for coming in. I want to recap a couple things here. We've got something coming up that we're going to launch mid-May. You guys are going to start hearing about it on May 11th. And it's going to officially be launched May 28th. But it is a coaching app called Elevate that I've been working on. I've got a coaching collective of elite riders that is unrivaled. There will be absolutely nothing like this. We are going to cover motocross, off-road, and kind of anything in the motorcycle genre. It's going to be a one-stop shop and a community for folks to visit, and it's going to be really change the way things are done here in our sport. So I'm anxious to show you guys this full thing. I can't really give too much more information other than that. You can find us on Instagram. We aren't going to have any posts until we're ready with the media stuff, but Elevate Action Sports. Look us up and follow along. It's going to be pretty impressive. And lastly, I just want to thank our sponsors. This show happens because of these partners behind me. And we do a lot of due diligence and work to make sure that we're bringing you quality products, quality companies. I'm not going to partner with any bullshit. So, without these folks behind us, this show does not continue to happen. So I sure hope if you're in the market for any of these products, please start with them and have a look. I give you my personal guarantee you will be happy with what they sell. And we're sure proud to come alongside of them and bring you guys this show. So thanks so much to all of them. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon for the next show. The Whiskey Throttle Show is brought to you by Yamaha. Join the Blue Crew today and take advantage of all that Yamaha has to offer, including amateur racing trackside support, awesome Yamaha contingency, Jason Rain's demos and instructional classes, and frankly, the most high-performing motorcycles available on the market today. Whether you're looking for a 4-stroke, a 2-stroke, a side-by-side, a quad, a boat, a generator, Yamaha prides themselves on absolute top-level quality and reliability. Rev your heart with Yamaha and join the Blue Crew today. Sore necks, aching legs, tight backs. Our bodies aren't designed to be constantly tense. But what can we do about it? Help your body relax with TheraBody. TheraBody creates effective, natural solutions to take charge of your daily wellness. By combining education, innovation, and over a decade of pioneering technology, TheraBody makes wellness more accessible for everybody. A traumatic motorcycle accident led TheraBody founder Dr. Jason Westland to create the Theragun for his debilitating pain. Now the Theragun, the only physician-created percussive therapy device, uses a scientifically calibrated combination of depth, speed, and power to relax and release your deep muscle tension. Recovery Air is TheraBody's world-leading pressure compression therapy system that flushes out leg soreness so you can bring on peak performance. Most electrical muscle stimulation is ineffective. Instead, TheraBody's sleek Power Dot takes away the guesswork with an intuitive app that customizes intensity and placement so you recover faster. Regular foam rollers hurt. Therabody's Wave series delivers powerful vibration and pressure to help you recover with less pain. Don't settle for mystery CBD. Therabody's TheraOne range of topical and ingestible full-spectrum USDA-certified organic CBD products are redefining high-potency CBD for wellness and recovery. 250 professional sports teams exclusively use Theragun and other Therabody products to take recovery into their own hands. Method Race Wheels, bringing you the lightest, strongest, fastest wheels in off-road for your truck, van, sprinter, UTV, or SUV. They've been dominating the Baja 500 and 1000 and every major off-road event around the world for years with high quality and performance. They also look amazing. They come in a bunch of different styles and colors for your rig, so check them out. You can get 20% off a set of wheels using our code Whiskey Throttle. No capitals, no spaces. 20% off using our code. Check them out. Also, coming soon, the R1M project. Method Race Wheels makes a dive into the motocross world. Stay tuned. Troy Lee Designs is the leader in off-road motocross apparel and style. So whether you're looking for a cool new paint job for your helmet, maybe your name and number on your helmet lettered on, you're looking for new gear, you're looking for mountain bike gear, off-road gear, they've got the brand new Scout line and GP and SE models. Troy Lee Designs has it all. They've been leading this industry for decades, and they're going to continue to do it. Check out TroyLeeDesigns.com. SKDA is a moto graphics and seat covers company with several offices based around the globe. For too long, bikes and graphics have all looked the same. They just start to blend together. SKDA is working to change that. With super clean and unique design work, a bike with SKDA graphics stands out in a crowd and adds a touch of art to the world of moto. Hey, we need that. SKDA prides itself on providing premium customer service both before and after the sale is made. Visit SKDA online to view the current product range and get in touch with their team to get your bike refreshed. I want to just make a mention here that these guys, not only is their design way outside the box, very, very cool, they'll work with you on custom things. The products are incredible. Okay, they'll speak for themselves, but what's really awesome, and you'll notice this the minute you order one of these, man, they give you an email saying, hey, the product's been shipped. Hey, the product is here. It landed in this spot. Hey, it's coming today. Hey, your product's been delivered. They just so good about staying in touch with you and letting you know where it's at. Customer service is 100%, and that's just something that's rare these days. Check out SKDA. Here at the Whiskey Throttle Show, we're all about supporting brands that support our sport. And there's one tire company that has never walked away from the sport of motocross and supercross, and it's Dunlop. When times got tough and the economy took a crash, Dunlop stepped up and stayed with our sport to support it and the athletes and individuals that love it. Their MX53 line and MX33 lines absolutely dominate this sport. Every national championship at the pro level has been won in the last decade, and nearly every single amateur national championship at Loretta Lynn's has been won on a Dunlop. So if you're looking for high performance, you're looking for amazing quality, and you're looking to support a brand that never turns its back on our sport, there's only one choice for you, and it's Dunlop. Pro Circuit is the leader in aftermarket performance and quality. Whether you're looking for a little more horsepower out of your engine, some quality hard parts to improve the way your bike feels and looks, better handling through suspension or linkage arms, Pro Circuit is where you need to stop. It's your one-stop shop. You can go in there and get everything you need to make your motorcycle go from average to exceptional. Pro Circuit's got enough number one plates on their wall to side an entire home, and there's a reason for that. They're very, very good at what they do. The highest quality products with one goal in mind, and that's winning. Check out ProCircuit.com. Nihilo Concepts is leading the way in aftermarket hard parts. With their secondary on-switch device, something that was much needed in this sport, they've been innovating and bringing new products to market. Their latest is the new Nihilo Run Cool brake pistons. They're designed to be stronger than stock and provide exceptional cooling performance with less brake drag. Most OEM calipers pistons are made from aluminum that just can't hold up to the heat and extreme demands of serious racing. When they get hot, the aluminum will distort, causing loss of hydraulic pressure and brake failure. Nihilo's Run Cool pistons limit the area that boiling hot hydraulic fluid is able to come in contact with the piston, leaving 2/3 of the piston volume in open air with breather holes to enhance the cooling ability. It's made of a proprietary stainless blend, which is better at dissipating heat. You have issues with brake fade or brake failure, check out Nihilo Concepts among their many amazing hard parts and carbon fiber parts and titanium. NihiloConcepts.com. Senna is the leader in motorcycle helmet communications. There's really two prongs to why this is important. One of them is safety. If you're a dad who's watching your kid out on a track, being able to communicate with him about a rider down or a track situation is imperative. You don't want him coming over a jump and seeing a rider down and getting himself involved in that. So from a safety aspect, it's huge. You can also coach them. So if you see them taking a line, doing something that they could be improved, it's very easy to just click a button and speak to them right in their helmet in real time. This has been a proven coaching technique used by many motorcycle coaches. There's also just the simple fun factor. Being able to chat with your buddy while you're out on a ride, share music between one another, answer phone calls. It just takes your riding experience to another level. So whether you're using the 50S or 50R connected through a mesh network in your helmet, or you're using a Tough Talk headset connected with one of those, Sena is the leader in quality and performance in motorcycle helmet communications. Check them out at Sena.com. Seat Concepts is the leader in motorcycle saddles. If you're looking for a new cover or a new seat entirely, Seat Concepts is the place to go. They make custom seat foams catered to your height, weight, riding ability, riding type. They also have waterproof covers and foams that will not break down if you ride in a lot of inclement weather. And they pride themselves on being much more comfortable than OEM or any other aftermarket company. If you're looking for a new seat or a new cover, Seat Concepts, there's nothing better. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than ProX. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, ProX makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome. A complete engine rebuild kits for the Polaris RZR 800s. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than ProX. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, ProX makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome. A complete engine rebuild kits for the... If you've got a little Grom that's looking to get started in the motorcycle world, the best way to get them going is on a Stasic bike. They've got multiple sizes, so from your very young Groms to those who are a little more grown up, you can start them safely. They've got controls that allow you to control the speed so he can't get going too quick. They can touch the ground. There's not a lot of noise to distract them. It's the perfect way to get your child involved in motorcycling at a very young age. And if you've got a kid who's already out ripping, there's series popping up all over. For those of you in Southern California, go to www.ameminicross.com and join their local series. If you're outside of this state, contact your local track and ask them about starting a Stasic class at your local track. Get over to Stasic.com and check out all they've got going on. Motul USA, we lean hard on these lubricants to keep us on the track and on the trail. And Motul has proven their quality over and over, most recently with their Dakar win with Ricky Brabeck. They're sponsoring Supercross teams. They're diving into our sport again full throttle, and we're stoked to have them on board. Amazing products, top to bottom. Motul USA, go check them out. OGIO is the leader in motorcycle storage solutions. As motocross riders, we need a gear bag, we need a helmet bag, a boot bag, a backpack, a travel bag, a hydration pack, maybe a tool kit to wear around your waist if you're on an off-road ride. OGIO makes all of that, and their products are absolutely top of the line. I've got stuff I've had for several decades, just to give you an idea of how long this stuff lasts. If you're not sure, ask around, talk to folks who've had some of this stuff, and they will confirm that OGIO's quality is absolutely second to none. So go check them out, OGIO_powersports.com, and look at all they've got to offer right now. You ever heard the phrase that the harder you work, the luckier you are? Well, at Luck Apparel, they believe in an acronym that kind of sums it up a little more simply than that, laboring under complete knowledge. So it isn't just some random chance that determines what your outcome or results are going to be. It's being educated and working your butt off to get it done. And I think that goes hand in hand with the motocross industry. You don't get lucky into a win. You work your ass off, and you make it happen. So check out Luck Apparel. They've got T-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, all kinds of cool stuff. And we're stoked to have them on board here at the Whiskey Throttle Show in 2022. If you're in the market for a toy hauler trailer, car trailer, cargo trailer, look no further than Custom Outfitters, one of our new partners for this year. These guys do an awesome job, even so far as to dial in the inside of Sprinter vans, which have become the new standard moto transportation for moto. These guys can handle it all. They use ATC world-class trailers, top shelf service and performance in their products. Custom outfitters out of South Dakota doing an awesome job. We're stoked to have these guys on board this year. So whether you're looking to just do some camping with the family, looking for a trailer that can fit all your toys to go out to the desert or wherever, look no further than Custom Outfitters. And finally, last but not least, Specialized Bicycles. If you are in the market to start pedaling, this is where you want to start. They've got great entry-level bikes all the way up to the Cadillac, the new Levo e-bike, anything in between, man. It doesn't matter what kind of riding you're doing. Go check out and start with Specialized. Don't waste your time on something that's going to break. The derailler's not going to shift after a couple months. Get something quality. These guys make it. Specialized leads that industry. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in to MPH Moto E Fitness and Health. We've got Coach Rob Beams here providing some professional insight into some fitness and health-related questions. Today I want to talk about caffeine. It's kind of been generally accepted now that caffeine in certain levels is good for sports performance.
Sure. Yep.
Kind of brings up that mental acuity, kind of gets you feeling like you're ready to go. According to the Mayo Clinic, 400 milligrams per day is the maximum you want to consume. If you're looking at some energy drinks, those can be 300 milligrams alone. A cup of coffee is about 100 per cup. What are your thoughts on caffeine, where we get it, what you take it with, kind of what is a good balance there to strike?
Well, it's interesting. Caffeine falls in a category known as an ergogenic benefit. We always hear so much about performance-enhancing drugs, EPO, HG, corticosteroids, and that kind of stuff. An ergogenic benefit or an aid is something that comes from your natural food. Creatine, you can load up on creatine.
Sure.
Caffeine falls right into that same category. So for somebody that doesn't drink coffee or doesn't bring in caffeine, you're definitely going to get a metabolic lift. Like you said, the mental clarity is there. Definitely you get an elevation in energy. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. The big thing that I always say to my clients, I'm not a big coffee drinker. If I drink coffee, I'm usually making it a milkshake with a bunch of artificial creamer. As I said before in previous shows, I don't live in a glass house, so I'm going to have coffee. It's going to taste good. I think coffee, it has its opportunities.
I always say black coffee is for people whose parents didn't love them.
Literally. I'm going to steal that line. I'm going to give you the props to it, but it definitely does work. Now, what we always say with our clients is, as you were saying, that 400 milligrams tends to be that threshold on a daily basis. Not to be rude, a sensitive subject, you got to go off of loose bowels. Because when you get to a point where that caffeine just, it's going to vasodilate your sphincter and it's going to be open season, you've got to know where that threshold is at. Obviously, if you're just trying to get through a day at work, it's not so bad when you have a restroom that you can run to. But if you're out on the track, and not to be rude, but you add velocity, you add a little G out, and you add a loose sphincter, you're probably going to have, what you call it earlier, the brown?
Yeah, code brown.
Code brown is going to be in full force.
Yeah, those are a bummer, especially when you hit the track without a good way to clean up.
Literally.
Spare pair of shorts.
Yep.
What about, it's also a diuretic, isn't it? So you got to be careful with hydration.
It's very funny you say that because Michaela and I, we like to study a lot. We do a lot of research. And when we were formulating our energy fuel, we were looking at bringing caffeine in because of the sports, the ability to add clarity. And we actually found that it's actually a farce. It's not true.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was educated because, to be honest with you, I've been under the impression that it was a diuretic. That was a negative. Now, again, I'm sure there might be somebody that says, oh, you hit a certain point, it could have a diuretic characteristic. But just like too much caffeine, we can go into, gives you loose bowel syndrome too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were surprised to find that it doesn't. It went into the absorption rate of the caffeine, to the fluid intake and osmolality and all this other absorption math. But it was fascinating for me because with that epiphany, that's why we decided to add a little bit of caffeine to our energy fuel boost. It's a very, the sugar that we put in it is an easily convertible carbohydrate molecule to sugar. Because think about when you've got this guy burning at top end, you want that fuel to burn as crisp and clean as it can, and your body's the same way. But we did add the caffeine for more mental clarity as well.
Gotcha. And then you have to also consider, as you mentioned with coffee, is how are you getting the caffeine? So if you're drinking a cup of black coffee, there's really no downsides to that. You're adding that crappy creamer, which is delicious.
It's the best.
But that's bad for you.
It's horrible. We had a lady that was doing our 2-week food challenge where we put together, it's actually by Dr. Phil Maffetone. I can't take credit for it. The guy's brilliant. And he developed this 2-week food challenge, and we've essentially taken the same information and made it available to our clients because, and I agree with him, the ingestion of simple sugars and white starches are at an all-time epidemic level as a society. And his only purpose for doing that is when you realize where hidden sugars are at. And we had a lady, she did the 2-week food challenge, and you're allowed to have black coffee on there. And she took it out. For some reason, she just didn't feel like she wanted to do black coffee. But then she brought her coffee back in, and she ballooned up after the 2-week food challenge. She said, see, I told you, it's the black coffee. A little bit of research, we found out she was doing the creamer. It was the artificial sweetener in the creamer that she was having an adverse reaction to that caused her to balloon up. So, yeah, it's even though I enjoy it, it's a lot of poison.
Yeah, I try to do the bulletproof coffee, a little bit of butter, a little MCT oil.
Sure.
And I do a packet of stevia.
Okay.
And it's decent to me. It's not as good as my vanilla or coconut cream, coffee mate, but it also doesn't have all the crap in it. So I think I guess that's my point is if you're going to the track and trying to get a little caffeine bump, just be careful where you're getting it because it's fine. It actually is a performance enhancer, but when you have to deliver it through a whole bunch of sugar, whether that's an energy drink,
that's right.
That's when the negative side effects start kicking in.
Well, and not getting highly technical, that's where we get into the glycemic index. You've heard that sugar crash that everybody talks about. You get that big spike in that insulin, and then it crashes. So your energy levels are here, spiked to here, and then plummeted to here. That could be a real problem when you're 20 minutes out from a moto. You hit that Java jolt that does have the artificial crap in it, and then when you finally get to the line, you're almost in a coma because you get that insulin crash. But that's where we go back to good high quality coffee beans, as close to black as you can go, because the big key word is to stay away from anything synthetic. Yeah. Anything synthetic is going to be fabricated. There's going to be something artificial that your body's probably not going to really agree with. And if you can't pronounce it, you shouldn't consume it.
That's right. One other little tidbit since we're on this, a lot of folks think that the darker the coffee, maybe the more caffeine because it's got a richer taste. Actually, the longer that you roast a bean, the more of that caffeine you burn off. So a light roast, better for caffeine intake if that's what you're after.
There you go.
Well, cool. Well, thanks.
Yeah,
I just wanted to touch on it. I know there's some issues with it. It's like one of those things that there is some benefit, but be careful how you get it.
There's certainly a point of diminishing returns. Absolutely. That's the takeaway.
Well, if you want more information on diet, nutrition, get over to CompleteRacingSolutions.com. Rob has a ton of things there, resources for you, all free of charge. You can also bump up to a membership and get access to a whole lot more. So check those out. We appreciate you. Stay tuned. We got more MPH videos coming.
Thanks for watching the Whiskey Throttle Show, now available on the Spot Network, an independent standalone streaming platform live now on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Google Play, Android TV, most smart TVs, and all phones and tablets. Look for future live shows and specials only available on Spot Network. Download the app today on your favorite device. And don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell to get alerts for all the latest content. Follow us on Twitter at W_throttle_show and on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at Whiskey Throttle Show.